Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Stat Check episode 108, an eventful fortnight. Thank you, everybody, for being with us after a couple week hiatus. We know that you were all desperately missing us last Tuesday when we were all in various situations of traveling, sleeping, dying, whatever, like the in between of all of those was. Everybody was having some form of something that resulted in us not being able to bring you a show last week. So, thank you for bearing with us during that time. You have myself and Anthony with you today. Jeremy is otherwise indisposed, currently playing a game, which I think is just terrible, terrible timing on his part. And Nathan is otherwise indisposed. So you have the Blunder
Kids
Twins.
table.
Oh Jesus, Anthony, you're so loud. I
I don't know
really don't know if
why.
that's on. I don't know if that's on my end or other people's ends, but people tell me how Anthony's coming through. I'm going to turn him down again more. Should I keep turning him down until he starts blowing out my headphones?
I like the world where it's just you. Like it's everyone.
It
It's fine for everyone else.
genuinely might just be me, but it is like blowing out absolutely mental. Anyway, I'm Ennis. I have Anthony with me today. We're here to talk about a couple of tournaments that we were at recently. We've been at the LGT and at the Frontline Gaming Champions Cup. So plenty of fun things to go through. Some very good friends of ours won both of those tournaments. I think is a technical way to say that. So we will be going into as much detail as we can. If Jeremy is able to join us at some point during the show, we will be bringing him in to do all of the good old stats coverage and that kind of stuff. I'm going to post a live discussion in Discord, and then I think we're good to go. Anthony, how you doing, buddy? How's your last couple of weeks been?
I'm pretty good. The obviously Champs Cup was dope. Coming back was cool. Got to hang out with Pumbaa and his lady, which was cool. Got to show them around a bunch of stuff. They got to see New York City. They got to see upstate a bit. So that was all pretty good. Aside from that, just been a lot of chilling. Team USA applications went live today, so that was cool. I think we're up to 15.
Sweet.
So that's been pretty good. Check out the Team USA social medias if you are a person that is interested in applying to the team. There'll be a link there. But yeah, so that's all been good and cool. I'm actually really excited for what our pool of prospects look like this year. Yeah, just like it's a lot of like little changes that are gonna be pretty big for stuff going forward. So yeah, that all looks dope. Spent a lot of time like leaned forward in my chair watching LGT coverage over the weekend. A lot of like yelling on the times when you and Brian were on stream. What else? I think that's pretty much it. Been spending a lot of time with these codexes and more importantly with the Deceptors detachment, trying desperately to figure out how I could fit Fabius Bile into it, but I just think it doesn't make sense. So yeah, I've been hitting the Deceptor grindstone a little bit, just trying to get a better idea of what the fuck I'm doing with it. It's down to just being a gun line right now.
Just play Liam's list point for point and play it in a bad
And
detachment.
play as Deceptors and not Oaths of Vengeance or whatever it's called. Yeah, I think that might have some problems.
A guy won an event in Russia this weekend with Deceptors. Just steal his list.
I think that's because, based on what I've been told, games in Moscow don't go past turn 3. I don't know where in Russia this event was, but that was like the old like
was the what the website said. So
that was like the thing that their ETC players apparently used to say, was that like you would get them to turn 3 and they would be in like uncharted waters because they didn't go that far. So in that scenario, Deceptors probably has a 6 score on turns 1, 2, and 3 because you're deployed in the middle. Shit is sticky. Like, bro, it's probably awesome then. But
time splitting devices cannot be used in 40K. I don't know why anybody would think that would be a thing you could do.
Oh god, not unless there's been a stone and a ref and you've tripped over a rock and it's the 3rd Tuesday of the 4th month. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I think for this episode's general structure, with myself and Anthony here, Jeremy has sent us some frantic messages in Discord saying he will be here when he is done playing his game. So we will have stats at some point. But I think the easiest place to start off, Anthony, let's talk about Champions Cup.
Sure.
So, do you want to tell the people what Champions Cup was?
So Champions Cup was an American attempt to create like essentially like the WTC for club teams, right? That was the idea. Is that there's not a ton of like high level 8-man events that happen stateside, especially using diff and using their like the pairing system that the WTC uses and things like that. So this was original at its inception an opportunity to kind of foster that. Frontline jumped in with both feet and gave us, a giant hall, this, that, the third. They started producing WTC train. There was a lot of changes that Frontline made to have made this possible. And they were paid back for that with an event that sold like 500 something players or something like that. So good job. We did it. Good job, Warhammer community. We showed them it works. So yeah, it was an 8-man team event. As is tradition, one of the strengths of the Stat Check brand is that we are friends with everybody. So we were able to put together a pretty good team. And we were able to do it in such a way that our traditional trench diving poles got to soar and play Smasher armies. Good job, boys. So our team was us, um, Liam VSL of winning Champs Cup and playing for Stat Check fame, obviously.
Yep.
Um,
Famous stat check player Liam VSL.
yeah, nothing else. Other famous Stat Check player, John Lennon. And
He's not won anything for Art of War this year, I don't remember, right? Like nothing this big. So
yeah, just like if you just like look down, that's probably true. He's not won any 600 person events as part of Art of War. That is probably
that's true, right?
that's probably
So
strictly accurate. So boom.
John Lennon's biggest event
Um,
win of all time is as part of stat check.
that might be true. Either way. So and then we had Jeremy and Francois who fulfilled the trench diving role for us this weekend. Just like an extra special shout out to Francois, who rode under the wheels of the bus so hard that he's now structurally part of the bus and was just only given shit by Innes for the whole weekend for it. Man took nothing but nonstop terrible matchups on repeat, only to get called bad afterwards by Innes for no reason. It was the most brutal shit. You're supposed to be nice to your guy that takes that role, and Innes just bullied him. So for that, a heartfelt thank you to Francois and a heartfelt fuck you for Innes.
Love you, Francois. You did great, buddy.
So Jeremy succeeded his goal for the weekend. He got a powerful 61 points with the Leagues of Votan. Succeeded his goal by 1 point like a hero. And I think that's all of us, right? And then we had the Poles, the Polish Brigade. We had Typhus on Sisters, playing notably bad indirect piece Exorcists, and Pumbaa playing Las Cannons don't do damage, so I have these accursed cultists instead. CSM.
That also apparently somehow don't do damage. Don't watch his stream game. It will make you sad and
No,
question the law of averages.
No, his stream game was great. He killed a shitload of Templars. It was his off-stream game that was the problem.
Oh, no, was his stream game not the one where he did like his first half of his attacks with 22 attacks on 3s with exploding 6s and then 2s to wound and did 3 successful wounds to escort of Templars?
Yeah, but he had the rest of the attack, so
Yeah, I know,
died.
but like,
yeah,
you couldn't pay me to roll that badly.
Yeah, that's true. Fair. You can, as a spoiler for anyone out there that's going to play me at an event, especially where I'm playing Deceptors, you can pay me to roll that badly. We can just agree for enough money that I rolled that badly. So yeah, that was our team, and also a massive shout out to our coach Dan. I think the team agreed we would have lost multiple rounds instead of winning all of them if we did not have a coach, because we were all battered and tired, and having a person to do all of the running for us saved our ass.
I don't think I'd have eaten all weekend if Dan hadn't been there. Like, I'm pretty sure that's just a true statement.
Water, food, medicine on it, like white on rice. That boy was helpful. So yeah, that was the event. We got to play a bunch of really dope teams, like a bunch of teammates of mine from Team USA. Yeah. Now we have a Jeremy. Woo!
Jeremy, we're talking about Champs Cup.
What was that?
We're talking about Champs Cup.
Of course.
So yeah, that was our team. We had a blast. We won the event, which is obviously very good. And yeah, things went well. I lost my race against Liam that we were dead even for 4 straight games, but he got me in the last 2. So
yeah, we put you both into hard matchups in game 5. Well, technically, we put Liam into a hard matchup. We gave Anthony a matchup. He told us he would 20 every time.
That's not what happened at all.
But you said that you like your eyes lit up like an anime meme when you paired into Death Guard for the 3rd time that weekend.
It was a lot of Death Guard. I usually win that game 11, 12.
20-0.
A lot of people walk face first into an axe and get 20'd.
Turns out this one didn't and got an 11 into you.
Yes, that's true.
And Liam played his hard game of the weekend, bringing us only a disappointing 18 that round,
Yep.
because he did have to think, apparently.
That's true. That's an actual quote.
Yeah. Do we want to run from the top in sort of like a vague general direction for the teams we played, just so that everybody gets a shout out?
Yeah, sure.
Because all of our opponents were like genuinely gems.
All of our ones were dope. I had no bad games, which is always a
Yep.
pleasure.
I also had 6 super chill games because I was just playing for 10s every single game, so my opponents didn't mind because they were just getting points.
Yeah, Jeremy, your microphone is super blowout as well. I don't know if it's. So I'm going to go consult our matrix because it has all the teams on it. It'll be quicker than loading
Try now.
BCP. That's better, yeah.
It's a little less base boosted, but doesn't sound as good as it normally does. We should rename the episode to Mic Check after it goes live.
Dude, that's going to be our like backstage show when we eventually make one. When we have enough, when people care enough about us as people to be like, oh, what are they doing in their real lives? It'll be the mic check stuff.
That's
it'll be
good.
like our
That's a good
vlog
idea.
content.
Yeah. That's smart. People will be very confused how it's different from the 40K content, but
yeah, I'm slightly less professional in real life, which is worrying.
yeah.
So
we got
anyway,
the Matrix open.
round one, we played against Banff, which was one of the Texan teams at the tournament.
Yep.
We played these guys in Lynchburg and Fog of War Tipping Point. Obviously, these guys, we were the round we had the most ability and time to prep for because we got the pairs a couple days in advance. So we were able to put a decent amount of time into going for this one. I played against Dick McTrickle and his Imperial Knights, which I am I'm assured is not his real name, but he prefers to go by it. So I will respect his wishes on the internet. So yeah, I got to play a really cool game where Imperial Knights got to find out that 2 Armigers do not have more OC than 10 cultists. So that was great fun. I got a 19-1 for that game. How about yourself, Anthony?
In that round, who did I play in the first round? Feels like an age ago.
Do I just need to get you your pairings?
You are still quite loud, Jeremy.
I'm just gonna turn his mic volume down to like 30 and we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Am I at least clear now?
Yeah,
you're significantly quieter now that I turned you down to 30% volume.
You're good. Everything's good now. You're fixed. You're good.
Yeah, I think we're gonna need to just have a reset on the mic settings. I'm gonna blame Take All Comers for fixing everything, for messing everything.
That's probably their fault. I'm happy to blame them.
Yeah,
it's fine. I'm gonna just pull open my own pairings and do this like an adult.
Ridiculous. Why would you do that?
I hate to do things that way, but alas, I will do what I must. I played Jacob playing Death Guard. This was one of the Death Guard opponents. He killed Angeron, and the next fight activation rezzed him. Ta-da!
The same phase, my dude.
Yeah, the same phase. It was fun. It was good. We love Warhammer. No secret missions this tournament, so write that down.
You didn't, or
I didn't.
As in, you didn't get secret mission, or you didn't use a secret mission?
There was no secret missions involved in any of the points that were scored at the end of any of the games that I played.
I think that's true for my games as well, actually. Because I made Shockman not take one because he would have scored less points.
That makes sense.
I'll touch on that. Yeah, obviously, I'll be doing a full breakdown for the coverage content when I do my bonus content for this. But we'll go through them in some detail for today because we've got time. Okay, Jeremy, who did you play round one?
Round one, I played into
David.
I'm drawing a blank. David.
This weekend, I did use secret missions.
David Villarreal. Nice guy. He was playing AdMech with a lot more shooting than any list should ever have any right to have.
Yeah, that sounds like AdMech.
Yeah, it was 7 shooty chickens, 2 disintegrators, 2 dune crawlers, and it was just a lot of gun. And I just said, I'm just gonna sit on my side of the board, you sit on your side of the board. If you dare cross, I'll kill you. And that was basically what happened. Anything that passed the DMZ died on both sides.
The DMZ, Jesus Christ.
That's what it was.
And so we played to a perfect 72-72 tie. So a 10-10.
Nice.
He was very excited over the final score being like a perfect tie. And he was also extremely excited because he scored almost more than the rest of his team combined.
Ah, rough.
That's worrying. Poor guys. Yeah, that round was definitely one of the starting points for, oh, this is going to be rough. The hilarious thing is, we had a really high score this round, like 120 something, and we were
133 to
not
27.
133, and we were not even close to like top.
Yeah,
30.
we were like 8th
yeah,
coming out of round 1.
Yeah,
yeah.
it
You
was,
look over
it
like
was,
XPZ have put like a 156 on somebody, and you're like, ah, we'll be a while before we play them. Then
Yeah, it's gonna be a minute.
yeah, that was pretty wild.
Rolling into round 2, we paired Vanguard Tactics, which is one of the 2 rounds that we played on stream. So you can watch this one on Wargames Live. Shout out to Joe, who's been a constant presence in my life for the last 2 weeks. He's one of the best people in 40k, and the game would be better if it had. I think this has been the weekend of, if we had 5 more Joes and 5 more Corrales, the game would be in a great place.
That's true. I agree.
Although I don't know if the world could handle that much Joe.
I could handle that much Joe. Joe's the best.
It's true. He is pretty awesome. I'm just more thinking of the presence of Joe.
Getting told off for not pressing the buttons on the laptop is definitely like, I think everyone should get to experience.
It was very
40K
much like,
response.
Innes, how many times have you been on stream with me before?
Yeah, but he changes it like every time. It is worth saying. It is never the same.
Excuses.
It's funnier to imagine you just
Absolutely.
like are physically incapable of pressing buttons.
That is true. I have very stupid hands. So
You see
that's
tech
why
and
I,
you just start
it's
screeching.
why I don't play like real time video games. I only play turn based stuff. Very stupid hands.
Got it.
So this round I played against the wonderful eponymous Steve Box, who was playing Army of Faith. And he went first in the ritual and built a castle of 3 objectives with Morven Val and 6 Paragon warsuits in it, and went, "You're not going to take this off me." And I went, "You're right for 2 of the 4 turns, and that's going to be enough for you to get an 11-9." Man spent 5 CP on redraw and scored 30 something on tactical in his deployment zone.
All right. Fucking fair enough then.
You're just like, I don't need to do anything else. My job is get a 10. I'm going to make 3 objectives and score every card I get in my deployment zone. I'm looking at the score sheet. He goes like assets and sabotage. Behind, Celestine dies my deployment zone and discards assassination or discards storm hostile for assassination and kills a character. He gets secure no man's land and locust, and he gets to bring it down to prisoners, and then containment and cleanse. Discards extend battle lines. He doesn't have his home objective anymore, but he can get containment and cleanse.
All right.
Fair enough, my dude. Spent 5, I think it was like 4 CP on smoke screen, 5 CP on redraw.
Okay.
I mean, it worked.
It certainly did. He
He got a
scored more on
powerful 9
secondaries
out
than
of
me,
that
while
on
I
you.
controlled 3/4 of the board the entire game, and he outscored me on secondaries by 7. So power to him.
That's so
Yeah.
good.
It was a really cool game, actually. I was impressed with RBFA's ability to like no sell the las cannons, because I just couldn't ever really shoot a tank to death with like that like low volume fire. Having been able to have it like lots of places with the vertical dice, it was definitely quite annoying. And just having like not smoke screen, the -1 to hit aura for sisters one, right? Just being like, you're never killing my vehicles, and I just never really killed his vehicles other than with pockets hand damage. Really cool game. If I'd gone first, he would have made no objectives, but such is
But
life.
you went second, so
I sure did, which should be better, but not in ritual. Ritual is such an easy objective to make primary on. How about yourself, Jeremy and Anthony? Jeremy, kick us off.
Yeah, sounds good. So I played into Ben Jones from Vanguard, obviously. Had never had the opportunity to even meet him, I think, before this, because I don't know if he was at WCW last year. We had a very pleasant game, but he walked up to the table, and as we were chatting through like our armies at the beginning, he was like, "We don't really play ritual in UKTC." And so after he said that, I was like, I don't know if I'm being gaslit or he's just actually being like genuinely conceding that he doesn't know how to play
It's
this.
not one of the
mission
missions
well.
we play. I had to
Yeah.
tell Steve that it was 12, not 9 from objectives in the new pack.
And it's center
like,
to
I'm really
center,
sorry.
not edge to edge now for some reason.
Center to center, not edge to edge, and it's 12, not 9. So the objectives are closer
Like
and
an inch. They're like an inch further apart than they were before.
When Lachlan and I got to the table, we were like, where can the objectives go? And then put down circles in like the 2 spots you can spawn them basically on one. And we were like, all right, cool. Where do they go from there? And then put 2 more circles down. We were like, unless otherwise interrupted, these are the first couple objectives.
I basically
Yeah.
did that in this game.
Yeah, that's a very. I don't want to set these up after I put models down.
I
Oh,
don't. Yeah,
100%.
we know where they're going. Enough.
No, I went first again, and so I was just kind of look at this and I went, I gotta get a 10 into Gladius Dark Angels, so I'm gonna stay on my side of the board and just making a line of objectives along my deployment zone. You move 5 inches and you can advance and charge. I'm just going to put a couple roadblocks in your way, and that's what I basically did. He was playing double inner circle companions with Libby's. That was a very interesting build to play into. However, they die horribly to bikes.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
Turns out 18 shots, even if I'm just back to hitting on 4s at 7-1 to ignore cover, is real bad for him.
Yep.
Every time he'd pop AOC and still lose like 2 or 3 of them.
Those poor Gladius Dark Angels.
He has no sympathy whatsoever. But
No,
yeah,
absolutely none. He had so I think he had so little fun playing that list. He played Ultramarines double Eradicator brick this weekend. So LGT.
we were talking about LGT at our game, and he was just like, "Yeah, I gotta get rid of the Eradicators because of UKTC boards." I went, "Fair," and then of course he goes back and takes double Eradicator bricks. So
It might have been one Eradicators, one Aggressors, or double Aggressors. I don't remember. He had Ultramarines bullshit is what he was playing at the weekend. So.
either way, totally wonderful game. Real chill. 10-10. It was just
Oh yeah,
nice
Ben's great.
Nice.
Anthony.
I played
you play?
against Lachlan Rigg. I played against the person at the event outside of Joe and Liam with the largest height differential on me, I think. Up until my round 6.
So you took his kneecaps with a hammer.
I did. I took away his legs, and then we had a much more even fight. And by took away his legs, I mean he failed a charge on 1 and spent a CP on it, and then he failed a damage roll, and then didn't have the results of the next one yet, and he CP'd that shit too. And being down that was 1 too many more command points than he could afford to spend on all that, and that rapidly turned into a problem. This was the first time I've ever playing against Grey Knights deep struck both exalted squads. I don't normally do that. I normally just do 1. And that was really good here.
Did you just want the mobility and be able to react to where he was?
Yeah, just the rapid ingress on 2, rapid ingress on 3, launch something into the sky both times. This was really good. And normally I don't do that, which normally means I end up with an exalted squad that just dies for free, which is really annoying. But it was way better this way, where they were alive and killing stuff rather than somewhere that didn't matter and dead. So I recommend that if you have that option in your games of Warhammer, if you can have stuff that's alive and killing things rather than dead doing nothing, look for those opportunities when and where you can. I do coaching in case anyone's curious. So the thank you. So the yeah, that was most of it. On 2, I basically had I noticed that he was down on command points, and I basically had a board position where I could get super aggressive based on the blessings that I had, or I could stop, chill, reset the board state and play for a 10. And all of the signals from the round were it doesn't have to get crazy, but I was there's a real chance that if I just let this reset and take the foot off the gas, he wins. And I really don't want that to happen. And I'm probably going to be a lot more comfortable in a game that's really chaotic and he's low on command points than he is. Fuck it. But I literally spent 30 minutes thinking about my blessing roll on 2. That's the most I've ever spent of my clock on anything. And it was that. So we, fucked him off into the grave and made smash. And that worked out mostly fine.
Good smash. Anthony smash.
Anthony smash.
Yeah,
So,
I think we put 120 on this round.
112. We lost
That's
2
sense.
games. Sorry, we drew 1 game and lost 1 game.
Yeah, I didn't lose.
Goddamn Canadians.
Yeah, that's true. That was their job.
It was very much our job that
great.
weekend.
The Canadians did wonderful. However, it's really funny to say.
Yeah, you see the bus that's over there? We have public transit. You guys don't, so we know how to get under it.
Oh, we have public transit. It's just not
where
very
you
good.
live.
Yeah, it's just not very good. There's plenty of buses here. It's just not great.
What bus stops outside your house?
Not you have to walk up the block. It's like a 5-minute
Yeah,
walk.
mine stops right there. I can actually see the bus stop from where I'm
Yeah, but
sitting.
you live in a city. I live in the woods. I'm sure the woods don't have great public transport in Canada.
You'd be amazed. Anyways, round 3.
Round 3. Who do we play round 3?
Big D Energy.
Big D Energy. Yes.
That's right, baby.
Oh, Anthony.
What?
I just
didn't-
remembered who you played that round.
Yeah, it was Death Guard again. It was Death Guard again. He got too close. He was a really nice guy. He had taken a big break from the game, and this was like his first time back. He was not prepared for the smoke that came his way.
Yeah, I think he was at Dallas was the last time he played.
Yeah, he said it had been like a year and a half. He had like gotten a new job, like completely revamped a bunch of his life stuff, and yeah.
What'd you do to him?
I 20'd him. It was
And it was a
not-
quick game.
Yeah, it was a fast game. Not as fast as Liam's, bastard, but it was fast. Yeah, he was
Yes,
a
but
super
Liam
cool
just
opponent.
speed runs his games.
Yeah, he was a super cool opponent. He was really relaxed about stuff. You know, we kind of went back and forth about a couple things. I definitely tried to save him from tripping into a like MOE heroic, and then he just like went the other direction, but was too close in a different way and got blood surged. And I was like,
Oh.
I can only help you so far.
yeah. So yeah, that was pretty much it. This was one of 2 games where I had like an ungodly MOE spike. Just the MOE killed 10 Plague Marines and one of the characters. Whoops.
Okay.
How many attacks does he have again?
Reserved.
6.
So you got 11 through. Ow.
5 6 is the hit.
Yeah, that one right there was Korn and Nurgle just kind of looking down and going, "Yeah, that happened."
Yeah, sorry boys.
That one of yours?
Not anymore.
Corn care's
So-
not from where the punt from whence the pus flows.
Ah, gross. Terrible.
You're the one that did it.
Yeah. True. Yeah, there was a lot of dead bodies there.
Jeremy, who did you play against?
I played into Eric Tad. It's TADT. I don't know how to say that.
That
Tad.
name is like hard to pronounce on purpose, I swear.
Yeah. Eric T. Really nice guy. Super chill. It was funny. He came to me at the end of the weekend and he was like, "You were my only loss." And I went, "Yeah, that was kind of the goal." I was playing into Gene Stealer Cults. He was playing Outlander, but with 40
Melee acolytes.
melee
yeah.
acolytes, 50 melee acolytes. I think it
Gross.
was 2x10s and 4x5, so I think it was 40. We again just stared at each other from across the board like the AdMech game because I kind of went, "You can't cross that line or I will kill you," because my bikes are sitting behind the wall,
Yeah.
out of your charge range, and I have warriors in front, so you're just never touching what you care about. And yeah, he realized he had to make something happen, and that something happening was my Hecaton ending up on the middle objective and him being unable to kill it for a while. And then the Hecaton deciding to die to a single squad of melee acolytes because he's an idiot.
Yeah, that's average actually.
Can't roll 3-ups with that guy, apparently. Oh, I left out in round 1. A single last chicken killed the Hecaton from full. 2 shots.
Painful.
Sorry, 2 of them did. But it was still 4 shots, 7 wounds. And I kind of
Those guys in Anthony's MOE should teach a class.
seriously. I then failed 5 of my 7 3-ups.
You should
but
try
yeah,
not
no,
doing
I had a
that.
great game.
'Cause it's better for you.
Yeah, I should just roll better. Clearly, I just need you or someone to bless my dice. Not
don't
you, actually.
don't ask me. Yeah, I was gonna say
Probably Liam.
terrible decision.
Or Anthony, apparently. Anyways, yeah,
Use
had a great
any
game
of
against Eric.
Innis's
Super
dice
fun.
Except the ones he uses to
just-
res his units.
11-9. Just played for a very chill hold.
Yeah, I played against Apollo Chang this round, who was playing Votan. He had triple land fort. This is one of those games where I looked at it, I'm like, I could probably try to go through all of them, or I can just go through everything else. And this is one of those games where like the 9-inch charges are on my side. Just I wasn't getting units back a ton this tournament, but I was hitting 9s, and I'm like, of the balance of the two, I don't really mind if like one of the two is hot and the other one's bad. Like it kind of balances out. Like I got a charge onto his home objective into his broke here to take it off him with the neophyte squad from the rezzed and stuff like that. Just like while he's holding defense stronghold. Shout out to this game though. My favorite part of it was definitely my two going to fire at a hackathon that had 2 wounds left with a squad of Ridge Runners, and the net result being that I lost my Ridge Runners.
Because it shot back at you.
Yep, just
Nice.
lifted them, just straight up. He just got
Yeah.
4 hits and 4 wounds, and I failed 4 or 5 up saves, and my unit died, and I'm like... So then I charged it with a rock runner and tank shot it to death, and then tagged the other one, and it was fine. But I don't have to enjoy it, you know? I don't have to enjoy the fact that that happened to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, this game ended up as a 15-5. As I recall, this mission was fairly like, it was the tipping point map that was like the... If anybody knows the WC maps at all, it's the one that we call the Fortress of Solitude, the one where it's like the just the nest of you can't touch me here. And we were both playing like vaguely shoot your army, so we both mostly couldn't really touch each other on that objective. So it just kind of sat there the entire time, being like completely safe for both of us. Which was, yeah, it was fine. He kind of took it off me once, and then I battled with a Kellamorph and didn't actually lose it. I took his off him like eventually with like a 9-inch charge, and just kind of grinding down on primary, but he just never really scored secondaries. So yeah, really solid game. I was very happy with that one.
Martin asks in the chat, was I playing Votan? Yes, I was playing Votan. I'll run through my list
No,
real quick.
it was the other army with land forts.
Yeah, no. So I had a single land fort, 2 units of warriors, 1 unit of Jaegirs, 3 units of bikes, 663, 3x5 berserks, 5 Hearthguard with Volkite, 2 champs, no enhancements, 4 Sagittars. And I think that was everything. A lot of shit. A lot of just junk that you put on the table and tell your opponent, I'm going to score. What do you want to do?
It's pretty good at doing that.
And that they did.
It was very solid at doing that.
Yep. Round 4, we paired into Tundra Tactics, which is the other round that we played on the Wargames live stream. Wargames Live at this point, I think it had a moratorium on putting us on stream, and then so we paired Tundra and was like, God damn it.
At least it'll be an interesting match.
And it was, I think. This was one of our better rounds of the tournament. So we talked a lot of shit during pairings this round. I think that's the biggest thing in my head is just how much crap we were chatting.
They made me roll the dice you get as a trophy for winning WTC, which caused me great personal agony because it was from the year that we got second.
And you rolled a 2.
We won,
which is the best
roll-off.
part.
Yeah, I managed a 2, which is great.
Because you got second.
Because we still lost. We still won the roll with that, which is just...
Yeah, Eric managed to roll a 1, so...
Yeah.
Oh, it was glorious.
One day,
so Tundra had a kind of a weird team comp, right? Like they had a double Eldar, and we were definitely going into it being like, hey, this is the gap that we exploit them on, right? Is the fact that they have this double Eldar composition. So we definitely went into
sisters.
Double Eldar, no sisters. So we definitely went into it with the perspective that, hey, we're going to try and body these. No T-Sons either.
Correct.
They had a weird comp, is basically the gist. Not that we had like the most normal comp of all time, right? We definitely just had the factions we wanted to play in a lot of cases.
I mean, we always have a weird comp because we have me.
I mean,
well, leaders are fine.
Yeah, lots of people taking them, doing really well, seeing a lot of broad stroke success as a faction.
I'm gonna pause you right there because I have a team event this upcoming weekend, and I think half the teams brought world leaders, so I blame you.
Yeah, Canada.
How many of them have GSC, Jeremy?
I'll check.
Apparently, there's 5 people playing the Eric list and the Outlander list in Vibe Check. So I have like 70 people.
Yes,
so.
That's funny.
Including Liam, which, by the way, which is the best part for me.
Yeah, that's good.
So, there are 2 GSC players at my event.
None?
2.
Dustin?
Oh no, this is way outside my normal meta. This is in Saskatoon.
Okay.
Tim's favorite place.
It's got such a fun name. It sounds like a drink. I think it's
not quite Moose Jaw level of funny, but yes.
Moose Jaw. All right.
I mean, I know I'm thinking of sarsaparilla, but I'm gonna stick with it.
Yeah. What? All right. Ines, give us that pairings heat again. TLDR, they had a weird comp.
TLDR, they had a weird comp. We went into it with the goal of exploit the weird comp, get the Eldar into bad matchups. What did we do to get that? Well, we threw Francois directly under the bus.
Yeah, just right in the shit.
Oh, he got abused that round.
Hey, Francois, do you want to go and play against Kate Hannah on Hypercrypt? He's not that good at 40k, right?
Yeah,
By
Kit
the
with
way,
a
his
lot of
list is
guns.
two monoliths, two Doomsday Arcs, and the Silent King.
Kit with a lot of guns is historically a very easy matchup for most Warhammer players. So, especially when you make a small table-based mistake and end up on a very open board and die.
Yeah, that was the FLG table, right?
Dude, that FLG table was totally fine that round. I played on that board.
yeah, it's totally fine until monoliths can see everything and move everywhere.
You just
All
need
the
to be able to
gaps are
scout.
all the
You
gaps are
also played
6
against
wide, so the
Drukhari.
monolith fits.
I could have played against almost anything on that table that round. All the gaps on that table are suspiciously between ruins are like between 11 and 16 inches.
Anthony's
Fair.
favorite dimensions.
Yeah.
All right, Anthony, you played against Campagnera this round? Tell us about it.
I did. I played against Cam, who's an extremely skilled general playing an extremely bad army because Drukhari fucking sucks, chat. It's fucking garbage. That army blows terribly. If you're good, that army is bad.
I love during pairings where we were just like, Anthony, if you lose this, or if you don't 20 this, you're
I
gonna have to go
literally,
on the
they gave
cast.
us the pairing option, and I said, I literally grabbed him, and I was like, we're taking this one because it's funny if it happens, whatever happens. We get content out of it either way because we either get to make fun of Anthony on air, or Anthony gets to make fun of all Drukhari players on
Yeah,
air.
that's right. Drukhari is not good. That said, he did there are ways that it could be scary, but not scary, period. So yeah, it's just only okay. It's an army of strength 4 damage to melee. I don't know what the fuck you guys want this army to do. It has more OC than it should, except dead models crushingly, tragically, still do not have OC. It's been true since I've been saying this about OBSEC, and it is still true today.
See, Anthony, that's why I play Jinsa Cult, because dead models sometimes have OC.
But they're not dead anymore. Once they're dead, no OC. They might come back and be alive and have OC again then, but after while they're in the liminal realm, they don't have
That's
OC
true.
anymore.
So what goes wrong for Cam this game? Because this was the slowest game of the round, which if you know anything about Anthony, you'll know is not a thing I think anyone's ever accused him of before.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, it's still like a melee game, right? And me and Cam were just like being, making sure we were doing things like not trollingly. So yeah. Basically where this started to go wrong was the fact that it was corners and it didn't get better. So on the FLG table, there is a spot where if your opponent deploys in the corner of their deployment zone because they don't want to have angry red gorillas in their backside on turn 1, they deploy far away because they're elves and they can score points later. If you do that, Angron gets to jump into the middle between the weird 4 rectangles and not get shot just at all.
Because there's no actual line of fire through there.
Correct. So
Oh.
I was like, if I go here, I'm safe. And he was like, yeah, you're safe there. And then he like moved something and we checked it and we're like, oh, you're actually not safe there. Do you want to move? I was like, can I move over here instead where it is actually safe? And he was like, oh yeah. Oh no. So that was a thing. And then we kind of just like, ran through his shit. He got behind me like a little bit and was able to get some stuff done, but like an incubi unit popped out of a transport, had to kill like my jackals and invo that were on my home objective, and they couldn't really afford to get back to their transport because of some other shit that was going down. So they just got smacked into the ground by like Karn and 5 berserkers, just like ate their whole lunch. And then so that was that unit of incubi. A different set of incubi got fight phase cascaded and didn't die to my MOE, which was fucking wild.
Disrespectful.
Yeah, the MOE and like 5 berserkers hit 5 incubi and an archon and they lived. It was the most confusing. I was like, all right, fucking fair enough, dude. So that was pretty funny. What else happened? I charged a unit of Exalted 8-bound like face first into Lilith's heroic and was like, yeah, hit me, bitch, go for it. And then I like fought on death with the 2 that she hit and almost killed her. And then later I just like grabbed her by the hair and bounced her face off the ground a bunch because I was like, enough, no more fights first. So yeah, that was that. It just like it's a brutal matchup. Like I have army wide like feel no pains, fight on deaths, and like -1 damage where it's needed. and he's an army of like elf that can die in my shooting phase, and that is a challenge usually. But it happens in this matchup. I did a lot of like
the bolters
running
on the
around.
rhinos finally start doing something.
Yeah, it was like combi weapons on the rhinos, bumping stuff, trying to kill things with tank shock. 2 spawn that rolled max attack count in the sustain turn and killed 1 reaver. That was pretty funny. Fucking spawn,
Did you
dude. They
borrow
should
my
be
dice
like
for
that
this game?
sometimes. So yeah, that was pretty much it. Cam, did his best with the unfortunate tools in front of him because Drukhari is not a very good army, and it didn't go super well. Does it?
Fair enough, my dude. How about yourself, Jeremy?
I had a lovely game into Oliver Smith. He was playing.
Oh, Ollie's great.
Yeah, no, just absolute gem to play. Like I said, I had 6 amazing games. I had fun against every single opponent, and it was just super fun. But it was the most amusing part of this is the round we were on stream. I was not on stream. It was Pumbaa and Jake behind me that were on stream, and I kept turning around and seeing way too few Black Templars and way too many Accursed Cultists on that table.
Yeah. You get the world's best screenshot from that game, which I will post in our Patreon in the general channel in a second.
Yes, that screenshot was just gorgeous. But anyway, so Ollie and I were playing. I went second for once, but it was Hidden Supplies taken hold, and I went.
Oh, it doesn't really matter that much.
I'm playing for a draw here, like a 9 or a 10, and just double checked with the team that's all they needed out of me from the rest of the pairings we had. He was playing double Dorn with 18 Bulgrin. I went, I'm gonna stay over here. You have to come to me.
Yep.
And come to me he did. And of course, this was the one time that a secret mission mattered in my games because their coach walked by, saw that I was down by 25 primary, and then
I was like, oh no.
And then I turned to his coach and say, don't worry, you don't have to check. It's going to be like a 9 or a 10. He's going to get like a 10 or an 11. And the coach is, the score is up to date, right? And I went, yeah, there's a card underneath that clock over there. And he went, oh, fuck.
Yep.
It was a fun game though. He made a pretty big positioning mistake turn 1, and 5 Berserks ran into a Dorn and killed it.
Sure, okay.
It was double token
before,
moved up, and they had a 3-inch charge into it.
Yeah, double token. You use the AP strat.
That's exactly what it did. It's
Yeah,
16 attacks, hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s, and you save on 6s. And he had already used the blank because he may have gotten wounded twice by a las cannon earlier.
Ah, sad.
And then by the end of 3, the bikes had just done a number, and there were no Bulgrin left. So he was just very light on the ground. Yeah. Again, bikes really good at picking up like.
Bulgrin loves sustained hits too, right? Like it's just their favorite thing. I watched
like, okay, so you're -1 damage. I don't really care. I'm gonna put 36 shots at you, and then that wound you on invariable 3s and 2s, and I'm gonna put another 12 shots at you that wound you on 4s.
Yeah.
Take a whole bunch of 4-up saves and hopefully die.
It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, it was, but it was a fun game. Ollie was a gem throughout it. It was definitely funny when he finally realized on turn 4 what I was doing, and he went, "Oh
no, yeah."
Because I was like, I have my 15 primary from holding my home 3 turns in a row, and on the last turn, I just have to go out and take the 3 in no man's land.
Tight, love that one. It's my favorite secret mission.
It's hidden supplies too. Like, what else was I gonna do?
Yeah, they should make it. You have to hold 2 in the middle, and then you get 30 points. Secret missions are a lot of fun and really well designed.
Please don't do that.
It should make them even easier. Yeah, that's exactly what the game needs.
Yes.
Yeah, if they're gonna make them easy, at least just make them really easy.
All right, Ennis, who did you play into?
I had the pleasure of playing into Matt Schuckman this round, who is an absolute gem to play against. He was playing double Avatar and double Fire Prism, and I'm looking at him like, I can definitely kill one of them.
Yeah, one of those will go down this game.
Yeah, one of those is going to die. The second it moves, it's going to die. Just it is. That's how. The second it comes out, it's getting mortal wounded to death, and the other one will be immortal. And I'm never touching fire prisms. I get one shot at the fire prisms, and then that's it, because then my las cannons die. But conveniently, Matt's list has approximately no capacity to deal with infantry. He has like a squad of spiders.
Dude, the shuriken cannon on those fire prisms is
great at killing 3 of them.
But he does have to sit out in the open to shoot those shurikens.
So we
it's probably
played
great at killing like 5 of them.
a really, really cool game of him never getting to hold any primary that wasn't his home objective, and me rapid ingressing onto primary and holding the entire board with all my units. I got 1 unit back on turn 5 this game, but that was fine. I was hitting charges, and like I said, I'm okay with one of the two. Highlight being my acolyte, my neophytes that had jumped out of the truck managed to get a charge onto the avatar on a 9, which meant that I was able to. I was like, well, I guess I'll just roll a 9 with the acolyte squad as well, then, which then hit the charge as well, taking the objective off him because he doesn't physically have enough attacks to kill both
Attacks to
squads.
split and go.
So he's just like, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is the best. I'll say that the highlight of this game for me, I got shot a lot. I lost like 2 ridge runners, top of 1, and a truck.
Whoops.
And then just like it was search and destroy. It's a tough deployment to hide in, and I had to
Yeah.
deploy with like a reasonable amount of aggression to go first. I don't think I killed a model till turn 3. I think I finally killed like the first Warwalker on turn 3. I've been trying really hard. I think I'd taken Fuigen's first life at this point. I handed him 5 mortal wounds with the demo charge with the demolition run from the bikes on turn 1.
Yeah.
So he went down to 2 pretty quickly. But yeah, my highlight for this game was definitely Matt looking at the secret mission cards at the end of turn 3 and looking at it and going, I'm going first. I'm not going to score any of these. But if I pick one, which I probably could, I could maybe try. And if this was singles, I should. But if I pick one, you get to stop trying to deny my primary, and it's even easier for you to kill me. So I can't pick one, so that you have to at least try and take me off the 10 every turn. And he still only got 20, but I did at least have to deal with the avatar every turn after that. That was as far as
annoying.
it got.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to Matt. He was an absolute gem to play against. But yeah, just not having the best time of dealing with like infinite bodies falling out of transports, and also his squishy MSU trying to run at Calibors was very funny.
Oh yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah, not great. I think I killed Fuigen with 1 for the second time. That was fun,
As Fuigen deserves.
as Fuigen deserves. Yeah,
Calibors really only have 3 wounds.
yeah, dude. 3 wounds and a 5. 3 wounds, a 5 multiple save, a dream, and they die less frequently than anything else in the game that I've ever played with, because no one ever comes near them.
It's just not worth it.
It's not worth it, dude.
Alrighty. Round 5,
Round 5.
the squeaker round.
Oh boy.
This
yeah, we
certainly
were
was the toughest round of the tournament.
we
Now,
were,
we had gone
uh,
for some lovely barbecue the night before, and all retired
so
to bed
good.
fairly early.
and that did
uh,
not matter since half of
did
our
not
team
matter.
more than half of our team was sick as fuck
We
by
were-
the time this
yeah.
round rolled around.
Across the board, I think everybody was dying except me, is what it
I
felt
was
like.
I
Jeremy
got sick
was
the
fine.
next day.
Jeremy got sick afterwards. Okay. So yeah, across the board, broadly, everybody was having kind of a rough day. And those of us that weren't dog sick, were dog tired from the jet lag.
That was good.
So
I
we were
was-
a
playing
lot of
against.
people were
sleeping about
both.
4 hours a night. Yeah.
Yeah. So we played against Xenos Petting Zoo Purple Cobras.
Who have the best pose of all time.
Yeah.
Yes.
To their credit, played extraordinarily well. Got second. Crushed it.
Yep.
They came third, right? Tundra came second.
Yes.
That might be real.
Because
But-
XPZ drew with Quebec in the first
Oh,
round.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
XPZ crushed it out the park, and they gave us the tightest round of the tournament by far.
correct.
Who do we play this round? Anthony, you want to kick us off?
Sure. I played against Grant, who was an absolute gem, even if he did try to scam me out of 10 points at the end of the game. This is very much a joke. He just like forgot to enter a secondaries. I'm just joking. So he was playing Death Guard, and he went first on corners after having deployed on the line, which at the time I was like, "Oh, this is a pretty bold deployment, sir. I've played against Death Guard a handful of times, and ain't no one done this yet. Let's see." And it worked.
Oh, you got harpstered?
A little bit, yeah. So he deployed straight up on the line. He had a bunch of tech in his list that I hadn't seen much of. That was actually really getting to me. The flesh mowers were a lot more annoying on those drones than the 2 flamers normally are. Having a bunch of brigands was a lot better than the predator platforms that people often take, because the predators can frankly be like a little more ignorable than brigands are.
Brigands are terrifying.
Brigands make their presence in a table quarter known. So
And they're OC8.
yeah, I mean that didn't matter over much, but it was, they were mostly a brigand, and that part was rough.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dead
actually,
models
no, no,
still
no.
don't have OC, Jeremy.
Yeah, he was making my OC lower was the real part of the problem. So that was problematic, I guess is the best way to put it. Basically, I mismanaged the part of 40k that I'm normally the best at, which is like the set up and go turn. He had moved up a bunch on one, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna respond by like keeping everything together, smashing at him, and we're gonna encourage the have an MMA fight in a phone booth type of game that I normally do really well in. Except I just like didn't take a bunch of the steps that I normally take to ensure that these things go well, and he like was able to poke holes in the part that went well. So at the end of his turn 2, so going into the bottom of 2, I had Karn in 5, MOE in 7, 4 Exalted, Jackals finished. That was everything left. And I had 3 Exalted in the sky. Now, thankfully, in that fight phase, killed somebody, got Angron back. That was super helpful. But basically, because of how much he had pushed up, I was able to like rapid ingress in his turn, sweep his home field out from under him, and I did that a bunch of turns in a row. And he had some stuff just like not quite work out with him holding midfield objectives. I was able to like base him and keep him still and like just barely survive fight phases and do a bunch of that type of nonsense to keep it and like run away from my home objective basically because it was sticky and he was death guard, so he couldn't get to it for a minute. So I did a lot of that type of dumb shit. And it worked out in big air quotes, like on keeping it close after like very badly fumbling the initial engagement, which is usually again like the part of the game that I am best at and how I win games, and Grant was just set up in such a way to kind of like disrupt and then capitalize on the mistakes of engagement that I made. So yep, I still think that game is fairly world eater favored. It's this kind of falls in the bracket of where I would expect it. Normally I would expect to win it between, my own compromised poor play and Grant being really fucking good. We lost this one. That should happen.
Yeah, I played Grant at Cali Cup last year. He was definitely one of my closer games.
Yeah, he's extremely good. One of the things that I was trying to explain to people going into this event, like everyone made a lot of jokes about us being like the WTC Avengers and stuff like that. And I don't earnestly think that our team is like fucking 800% better than like the teams that got like second, third, or that. I think what is going for our team for the most part is that we're really consistent. And in rounds where some of us trip, the others will pick up the slack and we can still pull through, as happened here. So
yeah, exactly. John came in a big way for us this round, I think is the
sure did. John and Liam.
Specifically
Liam's Arcane Vortex, but yes.
Guy's such a dick.
That guy's the worst.
Look,
But in
if
this
you're gonna be
case,
one
he
of the
was
best players in
ours.
the world, at least if you do it the right way, right? Like Liam, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's why we put him on a really good army instead of letting him play a crazy one.
That's why we said no Death Guard pivot a week before list sub.
No Death Guard pivot, no Eldar.
But it's his favorite thing to do is to YOLO to random different armies. So.
Dude, he can do that as much as he'd like. In the
For
singles.
LGT, he managed it just fine.
Yeah,
which
dude,
we will be getting onto. We're gonna let Jeremy do the stats after this segment, actually.
Yeah.
But
Inna, who did you play into? I'll do mine.
I played into Jason McKenzie, who was playing Tau. This is definitely one of my grindier matchups. I do find that the Tau matchup is one of the swingier ones for GSC. And he got board choice here and put me on a board that was pretty good for him. Like nice long sight lines. He had like 4 broadsides that were just picking on my vehicles all game. And then I had one of the sort of like, this entire event was bottom half rolling for my generation rolls. And it just continued into this one. And I just, was able to keep it close to an 8-12, but by like diving his bottom objective, but the distances were just too far apart on the it was one of the GW maps with just some really, really far distances from staging area to objective, and he was able to just put enough stuff between it enough times that I was just never quite able to get across it. And then he outscored me on primary in Lunchbin. He was able to take my home objective with a 3-inch deep striking unit because I just there wasn't like anywhere I could really hold off it. I was able to take it back off him eventually, but eventually isn't quite good enough in a matchup like that. So I lost this one 8-12. I got some really nice plays on turn 5 with pulling my own models to coherency, to regenerate models with a banner, to be out of combat, to dive onto the middle objective for like a 15-point swing kind of thing, to get it up from a 14-6 or something that it would have been, which I felt quite good about. It's always nice to be in a hole and still looking for the right plays. And I would have gotten a draw if I had managed, if my last 2 Ridge Runners had managed to kill a goddamn commander. But they didn't kill it. And then my last unit had come back, failed a 9-inch charge into it, and didn't get him either. And I did not get the small win. The draw, which would have been assassination points. It was a really great game. I had an
Jason, and I'll never forget it.
absolutely great game with Jason. Turn 5 GSE Savagery. Yep. You'll never fall prey to the banner again. No one ever gets got twice. But I'm always happy to be someone's first. Yeah, so this is a really, really, really solidly played game from Jason, but I think he fell prey to a few of the GSC mind tricks after he tried to very, very brutally cheat me on turn 5, which he knows that I'm joking about. He just didn't have Battleshock tokens and tried to use a strat on a Battleshock unit. We got all the way to me removing the unit before I was like, hold on a second, you can't use that. So yeah, very well played by Jason. Great round against XPC. All my games against the XPC guys have been great, except my game against Spatho and Supply Drop, which wasn't his fault. Jeremy, how about yourself?
So I played into Alex Spathos, I think he goes by.
Spatho.
Spatho.
Yes.
Spatho.
Really nice guy. Dark Angels again. Went first again.
Perfect.
And I was just like,
the
please
plan is working.
make this stop. Yeah, it was again. You stay on that half of the board. I stay on this half of the board. You keep all of your squishy stuff behind a wall, so I don't shoot it to death. And I keep all my squishy stuff just a little bit further back, so you don't charge and punch it to death. And we largely did that. I had slightly better draws, and then as I heard the round was going slightly sideways, I went, okay, let's try something a little silly here, because I was going for what was probably going to be a 9, maybe an 8 on my end, and I went, fine, we'll do something really dumb. And I shoved 2 Sagittars, 10 Warriors, and 3 bikes onto his home objective, failing to take it because I forgot that the Biologist is OC3. Oops. And then
It goes
also
up to 9 as well.
he never got there. He did
No.
die horribly the turn afterwards when I failed to take it.
Gotcha.
And then on turn 5, when I realized that he really needed to make something happen because I was up now like by about 15 points, shoved the Hecaton, 5 Hearthguard, 5 Warriors, and everything else in my army that was left on the middle objective, while he still had to clean up the rest of what was on his home. So he drew up, but he drew defend, which, you know, that's 3 points, and it's linchpin, so he has to take his home back in order to score better primary, and Locus.
Oh,
Just kind of looked and went, well, I can't really do this. I need to try for this. And so we spent about 15 minutes just kind of staring at the board, and I was like, this is the last thing of the game. Whatever you decide to do, we'll roll it out. But like, you basically have to decide whether you go to take your home back, or undercommit to your home and try to take the middle away from the 600 points of my army that's sitting on there. In the end, he took the safer play, which was take the home back. And I just said, yeah, you've committed enough. I'm not even going to make you roll this, because there's no way all of that doesn't kill a Sagittar and 2 Warriors, which is what you need to kill here. But the problem is the undercommitment would have been just 2 Deathwing Knights trying to kill that.
sure.
And that's not going to work.
I've been there. I know what that does.
I respect you. Deathwing Knights a lot as a combat unit, but 2 units, no, dude. They need all their dice to be consistent.
Yep, that is true.
Need to smooth out those spikes. But yeah, no, he was a great opponent. 11-9 in my favor at the end of it all, which I found out that little like, let's do something silly here was needed, because we finished.
It made everyone else's games a little bit more comfortable. Yeah, we had some nice little pushes across the board that came in to give John that little bit of flexibility that he needed in stopping the secret mission, right? So, yeah, the end of this round came down to, I'm going to call it Tantalus bullshit, where approximately 17 top-level Warhammer players, 3 judges, 700 onlookers couldn't figure out how the disembark and engagement rule ranges for Tantaluses work. And I've decided that the simple answer is that they just shouldn't, and we should ban all 4 roll from the game.
Yeah.
Sweet, cool. As long as no one disagrees. Yeah, because you got to measure diagonally downwards for disembarks from transports if they're off the ground. Woohoo! Don't you love it?
No, actually, in a
No, it's
great
the worst,
shock.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Disembarking from the top of rhinos and stuff like that. It's the worst.
God, fuck.
Yeah. So this round we won 88-72. Definitely a tight one on the way through there. Very, very well played by the SPC guys and their coach Nick, who was a traitor who betrayed us to go and play for them.
I think the actual
Or
answer was you
coach them.
guys can't have both.
That's true.
Why
With
can't
both
we have
John
both?
and Nick attending the event, they're like, no,
Why-
you
why
can't
not?
have him too.
Why not?
All right, we
Oh,
had too much.
I want it
early.
all.
Want it all.
I want it all. All right,
I want it all, and I want it now. And in the last round, we played against a team
Making
from
saves.
Arizona, Making Saves, who I have one of their objectives back at the UK now, which I'm super jazzed about. I think I saw Liam playing with one as well at the tournament, so clearly they were giving them out. How did you guys fare for this round? So I think I will shout out the guys. I will say I feel like Making Saves were, I don't want to say in over their heads, but these guys had gotten the a lost round one and then a bye round two, and then been smashing their way through the rest of the rounds, and were sitting in fourth seed as we had already played the second and third seed and played into us in the last round.
I think they were like
by no
fifth.
means,
I think it was even more ridiculous than
yeah,
that.
sure, they by no means deserved what happened to them this round.
Hey, they got to play against us. They got to
They
have
did.
some fun, but they,
They
did
did get that.
definitely get slapped around a little bit.
Yes, they did not deserve what Liam did to their poor World Eaters.
Oh.
Was it World Eaters?
Liam played their.
He played
Tau.
Taylor.
Oh,
I
he
don't
played their
remember.
Tau. Yeah, was it World Eaters the previous round?
It was no. You're thinking of the round where I played against Death Guard and Liam speed ran their World Eaters in like fucking 15 minutes.
He played Tau.
Tau,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, and Liam was
Also
like,
did
"This
horrible
might be a
things to
bad
them.
matchup. Might be a bad matchup," he said infamously. He
We-
might have to think.
Yeah, we talked about it before the round because that was basically the choice in the pairing was like I could play against Tau on their table choice or Liam could. And the alternative was that like I have to play Blood Angels probably. And we were better off in a scenario where I had to play a melee mirror and Liam had to play against a cowardly guns player than the inverse. In a world where we're like, looking at punching down at a smidge. So that was the safer play. That was like a call I had to like intervene and be like, wait, no.
It is rare that Anthony speaks up during pairings aside from that table.
Yeah.
But you listen when he does.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, sometimes I have something to add. Not always, but sometimes.
I just
So
sat
how did your
quietly in
game-
my corner and said, where do I want to go? And John, if you're playing Dark Angels, do you want to play against Votan on that map? And when he would say hell no, I went, yep, that's fine.
All right, that's me then.
So you played into Blood Angels then, Anthony. The one thing you have always spoken in fear of, the
Yeah.
shadow in the night for World Eaters players.
Dude, it's fucking rough out there, man. The matchup's not good. All right, so a couple of things that were important to this matchup that I did not like cognizantly realize as well as I probably could have done going in. I've played or been a part of, I would say, like 5 to 7, somewhere in that zone, Blood Angel versus World Eater games. In every one of those games, I've been on the wrong side of going first for the World Eaters, regardless of like how the game went. Basically, the Blood Angels went first basically every time, except for like the exact scenarios in which it was favorable for them to go second. And I did not realize to what extent two things control this game: the presence of the Sanguinor and going first. The presence of the Sanguinor basically means that World Eaters cannot use the MOE squad
Just at
Point-
all.
point blank period at all offensively.
Because
For
the
the first
Sanguinar
3
shows
turns.
up and goes, no.
Yeah, it just kills him. He just dies.
Does not have
immediately.
an involved.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it just splat. Good night, loser. He just immediately goes down, and that shit is bad. You can't have that happen. So my opponent did not have the Sanguinor, which helped. He also went second, which changed what I was and wasn't able to do a lot. That changes like blessings timing, this, that, and the third. Lastly, though, the other thing that this sets up is that like he didn't have basically any shooting in his army, and I like joke about taking no shooting in Blood Angels a lot, but having no shooting, no Sanguinor, none of the fight phase control stuff against World Eaters is just like a bridge slightly too far. that matchup is very favorable as Blood Angels. You have to be able to get it to the stage at which it is favored.
You have to not trip
Um,
and fall in list building a lot,
Yeah.
and then make sure you've got a plan for them as well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And like again, it is still ultimately a melee mirror. So the person with more experience, comfort, and skill level in that matchup is going to be likely to be the one that wins in a world again where you don't take any of the tech or firearms. So that's basically what happened. I was basically able to set up a scenario where I had a unit of jackals holding an objective with the MOE like behind them and in set up in such a way that he would never be able to like ingress and shoot the MOE squad with his like inferno pistols. Um and that meant that that objective was just like hardcore, never happening. He was not at any point in the game going to be able to successfully engage on that objective, which meant that I got to just like needle had his natural expansion a bit, give him a couple of fives. I just like thunderdomed Lamarte's unit with Angron in such a way that it didn't make sense for them to fight on death back, and that was kind of it.
Good
So,
stuff.
yeah, it was messy. Yeah, I mean that was basically it. The only other like part of this that can definitely come up is the like ride the lightning aspect of this, which is like if he has some of the tech, then the game starts to get real flippy into like real ugly really fast. Because then you're just like at the mercy of your world leader for up fight on deaths, and the game turns into a nightmare. So, but just
Yeah.
don't.
He is well.
Just don't
Pat,
take a right the lightning turn
guaranteed
if you
fight on
don't
death.
have to.
Yeah. Just avoid that when and where possible.
It's so stressful taking turns like that. You're just like, I know this is correct mathematically, this is gonna work, but oh god, is it gonna feel bad whatever happens?
Yeah. The JPIs didn't do a ton in that game. They ran up between grenade, shoot, charge mortals, punch, killed one of the two spawn, and then lost 3 friends to the crackback. So try that.
Well, I played into Philip P on his thousands of this game, which was great fun. We played on one of the FLG boards, which has this super big building that Vortex pieces can't go through, and also Magnus can't go through or anything. And I was just like, well, I'm going to dive my entire room behind that and then stick a bunch of trucks on your side of it and keep disembarking OC onto your objective. And that
Yep.
went great. So I kept doing that until he eventually had to run at me, and then I killed all the Vortex Beasts in Magnus, and it was great. Magnus at one point charged a truck and touched an objective because he had to, because my truck was on the objective, you
Oh
see.
no.
And when you're in combat, that happens. And I had hit 2 5-up, 2 4-up rolls on Acolyte squads that turn and had 2 squads still in reserve. And at that point, 20 Acolytes fell out the sky in one unit and barbecued 9 wounds onto him. And then grenade, I had a tank truck set up, and then the Ridge Runners down the line, because the Ridge Runners just like sat up in the top left corner of the board, being like, can't see us, you can't see us, you can't see us. And just like shooting one thing a turn, picked him up, and then from there it was just kind of clean up. Definitely felt quite good into the thousands of the matchup here. It was watching Vortex Beasts, because they only have a 4-up save, just die to flamers is so satisfying, and then also watching a more Vortex Beast charge a truck and lose combat is the best feeling, because they are only strength 9. So he charged my truck, did no damage, took 6 back, was still in combat on an objective and existing while monster,
Foolish.
which means that the 10 acolytes on that side of the board also did like 6 damage to it.
Oh, you're -1 to hit? That's cute.
Yeah, because I just fired 1 stubber at it from the Ridge Runners out of the combat, and suddenly it's getting a 5-up save against Sand Flamers, which as big monster is not where you want to be.
Yeah, even with the 5 of Philippine, it's just like, please make this stop.
Yeah, dude, he died before I got to charging him. I was just like, oh, I guess I'll just charge the rubric squads behind the wall over there, then just roll some 9s at them. That was a great feeling. Yeah, the game kind of ended with like a truck on his home objective -1 damaging against the Arcane Vortex. Just like, no, stop it, no.
Stay down.
Just, you're in combat, stop it. You're in combat, stop it. Yeah, great fun. Shout out to the rubric squad that I jumped over the wall against, fired the indirect over the top from the saboteur to get the to get the real wounds against, then shot 3.5 rubrics to death, and then it walked forward and got Calamorphed down to just the Inferno Master. It was like, you know, so much fun. Tip for Gene Circle players, if you're out there, if you are ever in doubt of your ability for your neophytes to kill something behind a wall, and you just need the wound rerolls, embark your saboteur inside your transport and firing deck the indirect over the wall.
God.
Very painful rules. It's my favorite.
Yeah, that's stupid.
-1
to
damage
answer
does work
Sebastian's
versus the
question in
vortex.
chat. -1 damage does work against the vortex. It's half damage
damage does
that
not
doesn't work.
Yeah, it's technically it's double, then half, add, then subtract is technically the ordering.
Yeah, but the thing is that
but it's
minimum 1
simultaneous,
that you apply to it is at the very end
Is
of
at
the
the end,
sequence.
yeah.
It's not like inserted after every step or anything.
Exactly.
Anyways,
So it works just fine. So yeah, very, very happy with that game. And Jeremy, you played into your 6th 10 matchup of the event.
yes, I played into Donovan's Grey Knights. I went first and went, crap. And proceeded to just,
Good.
The 3 picture frames behind you. I see it now
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
2 of them
it's the-
perfectly aligned. Last one.
It's
think
the
Pickles
3
got
guys
it.
from Spirited Away.
That's beautiful. It's still crooked.
Good. I'm
Thanks,
gonna,
Pickles.
Yeah, so I played into Donovan.
Make them all
Silo,
crooked.
I'm
super
gonna do
nice
that
guy.
next week.
playing Grey Knights, went first, scorched earth, and I kind of went, I'm going to put my, you're starting a lot of stuff off the board. I'm going to put my Jaegers in the middle and on turn 2 burn it and see if you can do anything about this. And the answer was he tried to make a 9-inch charge into it with a Dread Knight, which didn't do anything.
Whoops.
And yeah, just basically kind of just vibed through the rest of that game because I knew that I was going to finish with 40 or 45 primary.
What an
Finished with
addition.
45 primary. He technically burned my home at the end of the game, but I didn't really care. Highlights from that include his Calidus Assassin coming down 12.1 inches away from my land fort, doing homers, and then getting shot in the face by a beam cannon the next turn and dying. And I was like, it's probably not where you want to be.
No, shout out to Pumbaa's cat Cypher for coming down 14 inches away from his opponent's army.
Oh.
Shout out to his Black Templar's opponent for knowing what Cypher did finding out what Cypher did during Pumbaa's turn.
Whoops.
So, overall takes. How was Champs Cup?
Fantastic. Stellar.
I'd give it a solid 9 out of 10.
I mean,
Yep.
like,
I don't hand out 10 out of 10s for events
yeah, that was
especially given that it was their first big team event that Corrales and FLG and all of them were putting on. Solid.
particular specific shout out to the new and improved judging team that was present for this event. Their ability to take on feedback and adjust on the fly as needed for things were great.
Yep. And they did make some mistakes throughout the weekend. But for the most part, they were correcting those mistakes as they could. And they've also been very, very receptive to feedback post-event on how to improve.
Yeah,
which is the most important thing for me.
Yeah, I bluntly care a lot less about like a literal perfect performance from something like a judge team or things like that, rather than just like being like, oh, look, our bad, and then like an earnest effort to make it right.
Yeah, there was food and drink options in the venue, so you didn't have to go out. The location was great. There was stuff you could go and find nearby, and it was close enough to at least a decent amount of Airbnbs and hotels. It's in a hotel as well.
Yeah,
Venue was
swag.
cool. We got swag, which was nice. There was a repair station for models, which was great.
Yeah, Monument Hobbies was an excellent presence.
Monument Hobbies sponsored. They had like a repair station with some really cool like fast setting glue. They had flags up in the lobby where they would take your flag down once you lost. I think they should have given the team that beat you the honor of pulling your flag down personally.
Oh, that would have been good. That's where
they get to keep it.
I definitely would have relished ripping down Tundra's flag after that.
You should get to keep the flags of every team you beat. And they're like trading chits, and you can ransom them back at the end of the tournament if you want.
Fun.
They also have, like dope pairing mats that we each got.
The pairing mats were dope.
Branded for our teams.
The only thing those needed was another set of cards with what table was going where, or like what the tables were.
Tables needed to be numbered in the pack, which was definitely a thing that wasn't done.
Which again, that's a first time doing a big team event.
Yeah,
feedback
that's a
for next time.
small growth point that is easy to fix, right?
Yeah. Shout out, by the way, to Tundra, who had all of them with like that were laminated, so they would just put a whiteboard
Tundra
marker
were
across
pretty
the
well
map when it was
prepared,
done.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anything. Be less of a bitch about us being on stream. Come on, Joe. What are we doing?
To be fair, you want to make sure it's an entertaining round, not a blowout round. But yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, but they could have had us on stream 3 times. It would have been fine.
Yep.
Yeah, we should. I feel like they should have had us on for the XPZ round. Not having us on for the last round made total sense, but not having the XPZ round, I know we had just played on stream, but it felt like it was the
who else was
finals.
playing that round that they put on stream? Because it's also like stream is a great opportunity because Champs Cup was a large part about kind of clubs. It was a good opportunity to
that's fair.
showcase other
They had a
clubs.
bunch
So
of, like,
I
They showed
understand.
Tundra versus Vanguard that round.
They had
That
a
was
bunch
that
of
was
like
last round.
Final
no,
round, I
the
think.
second day, the last day rather, they had like 2 really dope stream games. I think that one was when Y'all Trollin got on.
Right.
And that team is awesome, so it was cool that they got to,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I mean, obviously, it's cool for other teams to be on stream, but it would have been nice to have the literal finals be on the stream, right? So,
yeah.
yeah, I think it's always going to be one of those difficult things, especially when you have
and
so many cool
and
teams and
as
so much,
someone just
so
said
much
in the
angle
chat,
coverage.
Joe apologized for missing the XPZ round. He touched on it at LGT. It's hard to miss, especially when like we had just been on stream the night before and it had been a very brutal round.
Right. Yeah.
The stream game was super enjoyable though. Like I went back and watched
There you
Pumbaa
go.
versus
Tundra versus Village Zookeepers instead of Static versus Purple Cobras. And then I
Right.
think they had Tundra on in the last round against Vanguard. So, like,
which
Tundra
again
ended up going on
that
stream
matchup
3
makes
times.
perfect sense because those two teams are exceptionally talented.
Oh,
and
yeah,
are
they
gonna
were
be
playing
very
for second
entertaining.
place at that point, right? But it's just like what ended up happening was instead of having us on stream 3 times, they had Tundra on stream 3 times, right?
Yeah.
Which, as the team that won, it would have been nice to be on stream a little more. But small complaints, right? Like, it's not really a thing. I think Kicker and the rest of the guys at Frontline did an awesome job being on board to sponsor this and helping Corrales and the Team USA organization bring it out. And I'm very much looking forward. We're going to be back next year. I think our plan is to put the pricing straight towards the ticket for next year. So
That's the plan.
Yep. That's the
Stat
problem with
check
winning
on
these things.
Fortnite.
We have to go back.
Stat check OP. And by stat check,
Ignite
I
are
mean
trying to
the-
get a team out. So
yeah, I was gonna say, and by stat check, I mean the wider stat check and friends community.
yeah, but I mean, like, if we weren't cool people, we wouldn't have cool friends. So
That's true. Be nice to people. It helps you field an 8 instead of struggle.
exactly.
It helps
Shout
when
out
you
to
know a
Art
lot of
War
people
for
that
not
are good at
showing up.
Warhammer.
What?
No, I think John just like heard our team and was like, "Nah, dude, I'm out. Fuck this."
I think that's exactly what happened. They were like,
I don't know
"We're
if
not
that's
doing
true or
it."
not, but I do just love that narrative.
Look, the timing lines up accurately. Context is irrelevant.
And then Bryant wasn't able to go, and Joe and John was like, "Hey, I do get to go play."
Yeah, John was like, "Damn, dude, that's crazy."
Should we talk
Alright,
stats
guys.
real quick before we
Let's
speed
talk
run some
stats.
questions?
Then we'll do. I'm going to very quickly talk about LGT, and then we'll do questions.
All right, sounds good. So I'm going to look at the last 2 weeks because we didn't really do stats last week, and I'm going to talk about these
We
at a
didn't do a
very high
show
level.
last week, so it would have been really difficult to do stats.
That's true.
Look, I'm all over the
Jeremy
place
comes
right
on by
now, so
himself. He's like, "What's
Yeah.
up?"
maybe I
That's
did.
my
Okay.
entire brand right now, dude.
An Australia team coming out to Champs Cup next year. I'm currently 21-19 into Australian, so I would love a run back to kind of even that out a little bit more.
Eric told me that he was looking at bringing a team out as well. So
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Yeah, no, definitely. Like, I can understand teams not wanting to travel for this one because it was the first one, a bit of a trial. But like going forward, I think this is going to be one of the best team events to attend. Like,
add it to your calendar with Alpine and all those big
yeah,
ones.
if you're gonna do an event
Exactly.
stateside, this is the one to do. Though I like if FLG continue to run team events the way they ran Champs Cup, and SoCal will be a clear indicator of like how they do in that regard. They will continue to remain the premier and best team events to go to stateside.
agree.
It has made me interested in doing LVO in 26 based on if they continue this trajectory and can hold the line for singles.
It's got me convinced that I will definitely be doing LVO this year and that I will be staying with Ben for the event. So
Woo-hoo!
I was like, I'm now
Nice.
excited for LVO instead of doing LVO because I want to try to win the season. So it's a very different vibe going into it now.
Yeah.
All right. So very quick stats. So for the last 2 weeks, we had 2,600 players across many events, across 36 events. Now, because of this, I have a special note to make. For the first time, and since I started tracking stats like almost 3 years ago, the LGT weekend outranked the LVO weekend in terms of
Oh,
attendance
shit.
because there were over almost 820 people at LGT, but then there were another 500 people at other events.
That's
Normally LVO
nuts.
weekend is usually like LVO and then like 60 people. So shout out to the game just getting huge.
But also, shout out to the LGT for being a phenomenal production at 818 players starting round one.
Did
It's
look a
so many
little squishy, but yes, even at that at that scale, it's hard to get any kind of like big venue that's affordable.
Honestly, the venue, like the space between the tables, wasn't even that bad this
Okay,
year. Like
yeah,
I
that's
wasn't
just my
brushing the
perception.
backside with anybody. So
They do
Okay,
such a
that's-
good job of like the like not 40K parts of the event that like historically has been a real issue stateside, and the
those
comparison
food
was
trucks
like,
looked amazing.
oh, dude, the food trucks there are fucking dope. Like it's the best part of the event.
yeah, Danny was saying he managed to spend more on food at the event than he spent on his flights. But he
Yeah,
spent
I
£26 on food for 2 days and 22 on his flights. So
sure,
you know,
I
like
believe
whatever.
yeah,
All right.
dude, LGT is a food truck convention that so happens to have Warhammer present, as far as I'm concerned. That play, the food
Turns
there
out when
is
you shove
fucking
1,000
dope.
hungry nerds in the same spot, the food trucks show up.
God, dude, that's so good.
All right, so actually looking at the last 3 weeks, but that's just because that's what I felt like. So this is from the basically last 3 weekends because this is the last time that I was on. So top of the rankings, we have Thousand Suns, 108 players, 4.2% of the meta, a 57.5% win rate, and 4 event wins,
So
11
many
top
win
fours.
rate.
Pardon?
It's so many win rate.
57.5%. They're doing real
That's a
good.
big number.
11 top fours and a 1.84 over rep. Edging in ever so slightly below them, we have Sisters of Battle, the Adeptus Sororitas, with 124 players, or 4.8% of the meta, and a 57.4% win rate. However, they also won 3 events and had 11 top fours for an over rep of 1.6. So, at least, very least, for the last few weekends, T-Suns are better than Sisters, but not by much.
That does sound accurate. I could agree with that stat.
Army's still really good. Then you in third place, you have Space Wolves, 80 players, 3.1% of the meta, a 57.3% win rate, 2 event wins, 9 top fours, and a 2.03 over rep. Remember at the beginning of Pariah when we had like 4 weeks in a row of Space Wolves being at the top and we were wondering if it was a fluke?
Well, it turns out they're just like pretty good.
Turns out they play the game pretty good.
Yeah, look, I'll eat it on Space Wolves because they're still bad into me. That specifically is true. And since I only have the sample size of me
Oh,
to
100%.
work with, fair enough.
Speaking of bad
However-
into Anthony, we have Chaos Demons rounding up number 4.
Holy moly, how do people lose to this army?
There were 3 Chaos Knights in the top 15 LGT.
Ah!
No, Chaos Demons, not Chaos Knights.
Yeah, sorry, there were 3 Chaos Demons in the top 15 of LGT.
Well, one of them doesn't really
Manny
count because he
beat
didn't
Vic.
play, right?
But Manny still went 6-0 and beat Vic.
Did Manny beat Vic or did Linear Time Flow beat Vic?
No, the Vic lost.
Okay.
All right.
You never
94
know with
players,
Vic.
3.6% of
Vic
the
spent his
meta.
entire time turn shooting the Great and Clean with it when it wasn't on an objective and lost.
Dude, Vic is
Oh, that's
literally
bad.
unstoppable at WTC because he's got all the time in the world. Once we get into these UKTC rounds, it gets a little scarier, all right?
Perfect.
But they have had no event wins with 4 top fours and a 0.77 over rep in it, but a 54% win rate. So you are right, Anthony. People are losing to them, but they aren't winning anything.
Fair enough.
And then in 5th place, we have the quintessential Astra Militarum, the Imperial Guard, 155 players, 6% of the meta, which I
Holy.
think actually makes them the second most popular army the last 3 weeks.
Wow, that's
With
what
a
you've done to the
53.3% win rate, 3 event wins, 8 top fours, and a 0.93 over rep.
Dude,
So they're actually like,
Bulgarin are fucked up.
yes, they are. Bulgar need to just go away.
Stand
Bulgarin
on the
cap-
objectives, point the
cap 'em at
guns,
3
and
man,
the
dude.
guys.
Cap them at
Oof,
3.
cap
Those
'em at
squads should
3,
not go
man.
to 6.
Before Astra was Chaos Demons, bedroom. And just an honorable mention to Gene Stealer Cults in 6th place. With a 45
Whoa.
players, a 1.7% of the meta, a 52.7% win rate, 1 event win, 5 top fours, and a 2.0 over rep.
That's pretty good. I forgot a really important detail about Champs Cup that it's good to get publicized. Because we won the event, before the event, Innes agreed that he would get a Gene Stealer cult tattoo when we won. So, just so that everyone on the internet is aware for public shaming purposes, Innes is due us as a
The
unit.
criteria was that I don't pay for it as well, but
Yeah,
We
that
got
would
it.
remain to be
that's
figured out.
that was never
That's,
going to
that's
be
not
an
even
issue.
hard.
No,
Yeah.
I'm aware of that part, but it'll take some time.
It will be Innes's first, and it's going to be
Innes
a dope
is scared
tattoo.
of needles,
It's
so
not like needles and tattoos are
doesn't
not
matter.
Like,
Innes
that's
is
not-
scared of needles, so
That's
it's
not.
the mental side of it is going to be a problem as well.
We'll
GSC
go with you. I'll
tramp
hold your
stamp.
hand.
That will not be happening. We're
it's
not
not a
doing a
tramp
poll on
stamp.
that.
Doesn't
I
have to
know
get
roughly
crazy.
where it will be going. I think
Do you have an
right
idea?
on
Where
your
you put
shoulder or
that?
thigh.
I'm not telling anybody yet. I'm gonna wait a little bit. I'm not getting it in Vegas, Ben. I'll die.
Why not?
I'm not getting it before I have to fly back to the UK. I'm just not doing it.
Ben's got a guy. He's great.
Oh Christ!
The reality is, it's only the first couple days of recovery that suck, and you'll be
even
playing
then,
40k then.
depending on where you get it, it's not like bad at all. Like the thigh tattoos I've gotten have had almost no recovery. They're like basically fine. This not so much, but like
Stats.
yeah. Back at it. Oh, we can't look. Jeremy's injured.
Sixth.
Sorry,
for
I've still
GSC,
got
dude.
whatever bit of Nurgle
For
I
what it's
picked up
worth,
in
dude,
Dallas.
well done to the GSC community for rallying behind like just an absolute crumb of information that there might be some good builds in that book, and the GSC community was like, "Oh fuck yeah, let's do it, dude!"
Yeah,
and
got
then
after it real hard.
fucking did it, man. I feel like there's a lot of armies out there that are just sitting in that same boat where, like, we talk a lot about faction abandonment, where like there's no top people playing a faction, so nobody's paying attention because blah blah blah. Brian's just gone to the finals of LGT on orcs. If you're out there and you're like, I can't win with orcs, fucking yes you can. Go and do it. Go
You
and
need
play
those
the
faction
build.
champions,
Go
though.
and
You need
make it
people
work.
showing that it can be done.
You need someone to
when you
show
have
how
that
it can
kind
be
of
done.
abandonment.
Someone talking about it, and listen to them because they're out there. And there are 7-8 factions in the game right now that just need somebody doing that you need to go and listen to. But it can be done. Almost any army in the game can get to 50%.
Yeah,
and I'm
I would agree.
very, very
Especially
thankful.
Pariah.
But
Fuck.
All right,
Yeah,
so
50%
let's
just like on
talk about
five.
the last, the worst of the best. I want to highlight right now, by the way, that over the last 3 weeks, 21 of the 26 factions that we track were within the 45 to 55 range.
How many
Like-
of them have event wins?
How many of them have event wins? In the last 3 weeks,
Or rather, perhaps easier, who doesn't have event wins?
there are in the last 3 weeks. There's I think 6 that don't have event wins.
Okay.
No,
That's-
there's more than that.
That's actually pretty good.
Sorry, there's 11 of them that don't have event wins. Demons, Admech, Drukhari, Orcs, World Eaters, Grey Knights, Eldari, Death Guard, Chaos Knights, Imperial Knight, Agents, and Space Marines haven't won an event.
Grey Knights is actually
But
the
this is also only the last 3 weeks. So
Grey Knights is the only like true shock there, I actually think.
yeah, that's fair.
I think Grey
Uh,
definitely win one. There's just no real top players playing them, right? I feel like
It's tough. Grey Knights can have a lot of stuff go wrong in a hurry as
they're
well
also
in a
just
given
really
game.
boring. Like, in the nicest sense, there's just not a lot of interesting things you can do with them. It's do you want to play Dread Knights or Terminators?
Yeah,
I think Grey Knights
and
are cool.
and realistically, like the only army that isn't like represented or isn't real here is Imperial Agents, and they're not a real army in that sense.
And like they went 4-1 at a GT in Ireland this week, in Northern Ireland this weekend. Like they're definitely
That
doing
was their
some
one
stuff
top
already.
4. So we'll talk about Imperial Agents real quick. In the last 3 weeks, there have been 9 Imperial Agents players. They have managed a 37.8% win rate. They have had one top 4, which is also their only top 10. But because there was only 9 of them, they have a 2.0 over rep.
Okay.
Fuck yeah, guys.
Like 38% win rate with that army is respectable.
Again, once there are more of the models, and like this is to Innes's earlier point, like some of the competitive abandonment thing, I'm sure this hasn't seen widespread adoption. The most
I just want to see what C
enthusiastic-
Bishop does with this army now.
The most enthusiastic person I've heard talk about this army is Lennon, and Lennon has not played them yet. But one day, the world
I
is
wouldn't
gonna
be
get-
surprised if
Lennon
he shows
is
up
not
to Tampa
touching them
with them or something
until-
dumb.
I heartily believe Lennon will not touch this army until Death and Lights are dead. Because
Yeah,
after the amount of time he spent painting them, he wants
He
his
did.
value.
Dude, he does have
Fair.
really nice looking Dark Angels.
He's put a lot of work
Don't
into
put
it.
the
All
effort
right.
into learning the paint.
Rounding out the bottom 5, we have Death Guard, 85 players, 3.3% of the meta, a 47.4% win rate, so respectable. but no event wins and only 2 top 4s for a 0.42 over rep. So definitely an army that is struggling a little bit, especially in converting a pretty decent win rate into anything meaningful. We have Chaos Space Marines, and this is a fun one. 153 players, 5.9% of the meta, so the third most represented faction. They have a 47.3% win rate, but they have won 5 events, including, most notably, Liam VSO winning LGT this past weekend.
Yeah, with the shit in
Which,
his pockets.
by the way, is the 3rd year in a row of CSM winning LGT.
Yeah,
That's
Sako,
true.
Liam.
Yeah,
who won 2 years ago?
Sako.
Right.
With Emperor's Children.
So, again, it's just a matter of, it turns out that the Brits can't win that event.
It's true, yeah.
Always won by a Frenchman or a Belgian. Or an
Yeah.
American, I guess, before COVID.
Or Malik, who is not English either. So yeah, Malik's Spanish. So
Get roasted, LGT
All right.
attendees.
Then we have Anthony's favorite, Chaos Knights. 50 players, 1.9% of the meta, a 46%
I love
win rate.
Chaos Knights.
But no event wins and no top 4, so they have a 0 on over.
Sounds right. Yeah.
And at the very bottom of the gene pool, right along their gene seed, Space Marines with 110 players, 4.2% of the meta, a 37% win rate, 3 top 4s for a 0.49 over rep.
Yeah,
look, Space Marines, you're not
this
an
is-
army. Stop
This is
it.
the fucking competitive abandonment thing all over again. Like this literally tracking this stat is self-selecting for suboptimal players. If you are looking to play optimally, you will play a chapter with access to more units. Because everyone can do what generic Space Marines do, and they just can't do what the other ones do.
I mean, yeah, because then outside of that, you're basically playing around what Uriel and Calgar give you.
What you could do,
Or Firestorm. There's a decent amount of like Atrax plus Vulcan stuff, but yeah.
if we wanted this to show what just the detachments in the Codex are capable of, when we track the Dark Angels, we would only track them as their Codex ones, and we would roll all of the Gladius stats together, which is also not how we should do that because that's bullshit. But
Yeah,
just
because
saying,
then that skews things the other way around because we
It's-
know that it's Dark
yeah,
Angels units that are fucking it up.
I understand. I'm just saying that, like, the people that read this and are like, Space Marines need so many, but shut up. Stop it. Get some help. Space Marines are totally fine.
Look, dude, I played that Ironstorm list for the Invitational, and
Dude!
holy shit, dude, it was so much fun.
I
Just
told
like
you.
guns.
Yeah, but you were playing Black Templars.
I was playing Black Templars, but it was still just like, dude, I had 3 multi-metas and then like 2 on the Lancers that I could take or leave. And if I hadn't had those multi-metas, I would have noticed, but not enough to be like upset about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, firing a Mercy's Weakness Reaper is just, oh my
Dude,
god.
it's fucked up.
Yep.
Like,
I was
Yeah.
very close to bringing Ironstorm to my team event this weekend because I was just like, I want to play something different. My team went, no, you're playing Gladius. I went,
Dino tagged on a curse brick into a Reaper while it was oath, and I just went, I'm so sorry for what's about to happen to you.
Yep.
I would bet a reasonable amount of money that I could win a small GT playing Ultramarine Ironstorm with like very little opposition.
Yeah, I would
I
agree.
mean, Calgar does what Azrael did in the old detachment.
Calgar's sheet, period, is so much better than Azrael's. If Calgar gets the gauntlets of Ultramar on you, you're fucked. You're a dead man. You catch the hands of the
I
Emperor.
will say, I wish you could buy Calgar without his Victrix.
Nah, fuck that. It's fine.
Calgar,
Leave him in there.
3 Eradicators in a Repulse, in a Land Raider, in Gladia, in Ironstorm would be pretty funny.
Dude.
Could have been a Godhammer with the Las Cannons. Get those rerolls going. I could see it.
I mean, and his stupid ass unit just gets out and advances, does whatever the fuck it wants for free. Gah! Like,
I love how
Yeah.
angry Anthony is about this guy.
it's just frustrating because people are like, "Oh, Marine's so bad." Then you look at shit like this, and you're like, "What? It's what?"
Marines are pretty good.
All right, I was gonna take Black Templars to my event this weekend. I'm gonna take non-Black Templars just to put a win for regular
Ultramarines.
Ultramarines
Do it.
on the book. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Bring
No,
Shrike.
I'm gonna do Imperial Fist with fuck. No, I'm not gonna do Imperial Fist. I was like, because I was reading Lysander data sheet again. He's fun as fuck.
Dude,
Bring
there's
Tor
good
Garden.
odds that Ironstorm list you played is better with Calgar at the helm than 3 multi-meltas that half the time don't.
The
activate.
points I would have to fine.
you'll figure it
Sure,
out.
you'd probably have
Yeah.
to take less bad redemptors and take more other stuff that is.
Oh, I'm
better.
playing Firestorm this weekend, by the way, not Ironstorm. But
If all right, that might be more of a challenge. Firestorm is definitely not as good as Ironstorm.
I agree. Yes, it's going to be interesting.
But if you did it as Ironstorm, I would put significant sums of money on you to win this. Like it's crazy.
Army's still good.
We'll see what we can do. I'm going to put some lists together. I have to submit technically by the morning, so I'll put some stuff together and we'll see what we're doing. I'm spreading it out for just for everybody who knows. I now have to make decisions about what I play for small tournaments based on what I think the video will, how well I think the video will do. So I'm having to
telling
spread
you,
my armies.
If you get a point on the board for the generic Space Marines right before the data slate, oh, that would be fucking stellar.
To be fair,
That would-
they already have one. If you really want to go out and do something, go do it with orcs.
Brian just did that.
Brian did good enough.
Tripped at the
All right.
finish line.
Let's talk about LGT and then we'll do questions. So you guys watch more of the content than I did. How was LGT to watch from the sidelines?
Oh, dude, I was
Great.
fucking edge of my seat, leaned forward for like your game. Me, Pumbaa, and Yulia were all like, ah, when we were watching your game against Liam. And then I was like freaking out watching the like games you played, afterwards as well. So yeah,
That game
good.
was so much fun to watch. The one between you and Liam, because it was just that game and then the finals were very similar in terms of the vibes between the two players, because you both are top tier players. You both know what the other person can do, and you just communicated. And we're open, and we're like, "Hey, do you think I could do this? No, okay. How about if I do it this way? Yeah, okay. Let's help you make sure that works." Just like very clear, very good communication. If there was ever anything that needed to be fixed or taken back, the three of you were just very clear about how it was going to work.
Yeah, I could not be prouder of Liam and Brian for making it to the finals of the LGT this year with two armies that were. If you had had a betting pool, I don't think you would have had orcs or veterans of the Long War anywhere near the top 10 factions for the top of LGT, right? So yeah, I want to give a super quick shout out. So I played the Invitational. Shout out to Hadar, Dino, and Liam for being incredible opponents. I'm so sorry for the way that you lost to a secret mission, Hadar. He lost by 4 points to Unbroken Wall on turn 5.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, he failed like 5 out of 5 4-up saves to not lose a guy, and he lost 2 infiltrators in combat to 2 gladiator reapers. While one of them was battle shock, did not give him primary.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah, dude, it was brutal. So yeah, shout out to those guys, and then shout out to all of my opponents in the main event. I played 7 games. I'm not going to shout everybody out. I will be doing, as I said, I've got 3 episodes on the docket right now, and another one to come from this weekend. So expect a bunch of content coming out of me over the next couple of weeks. I'm aiming to have it all out before I go to Poland in 2.5 weeks. Oh my god. I'm so sorry to my body. So yeah, but yeah, I want to quickly shout out the top 8 from LGT, or the top. I'm going to shout out the top 10 because it's everybody that was in the top 8, and then also and everybody that made it past the round of round 6. So Manny on 18 Blood Crushers, 18 Blood Crushers Chaos Demons did go 6-0. Could not play the top 8. I will shout him out. He put the brakes on a bunch of people with a list that I do not think anybody would have predicted. He beat Vic with it. Vic failed a very crucial fallback check with the Dominion squad against Scarbrand's Aura off the 3-inch Deep Strike, and got ran over by Blood Crushers. And that happened to a lot of people over the weekend. Myself in 9th with Gene Circle, I went down to Andy Koskoen on his Hyper Thick. It was very, very heartbroken to lose the game in that way, but you can watch that game on the War Games live stream. I get to go first, and I'd be really upset about it. David Gaylord on 18 Bulgar and Asher Militarum finished in 8th place. Shout out to David. His voice was destroyed after his game with Cograndy, and he soldiered on through 2 more games that day and did amazing things. Andy Koskoen on Hyperthick, he had the Silent King, a Tesseract Vault, and the Nightbringer, and 2 Doomsday Arcs, and he shot a whole bunch of people off the board. He lost by Liam to 1 point in the semifinals. So incredible run by Andy. We had Johnny Simmons on Adeptus Mechanicus, who lost to Brian in the semifinals. Went all the way to 7-1. I do not recall a great deal of who he played against, but he did an amazing job on getting there. He played Johan from the French team, is one of the people he took down on the way to get there. Really, really well done by him. Anthony, I have Johan's shirt for you that I now have to figure out how to get to you.
Yay!
Apparently, I'm just a caddy. In fifth place, we have Nassim, the man who could lose Leontis.
You're so cruel, Innes.
I'm so sorry, Nas. For anybody who doesn't know, I hid Nas's Leontis. I told the ref and the two other people who were there, one of which was his opponent, and Lewis had just forgotten by the morning where I had hidden it.
Oh.
So I'm so sorry for that, Nas. But he managed to go all the way with 18 Bulgren also, all the way up to fifth place. In fourth, we have Lewis Smith, who was playing Cow Yawn, Triple Riptide, and a Tiger Shark. So
Yeah.
fuck yeah, dude. Shout out to Brian for killing it by not letting it come on the board.
I guess that's one way.
In third place, we have Alex Fowler, who was playing Thousand Suns, a very traditional Magnus Double Unit Vortex Beast build. Alex was the beneficiary of the bye in the round of 8 from when Manny dropped, but did lose to Liam in the semifinals, which well done to Alex. And then in second and first, we have Brian Sipe and Liam VSL of Ignite, both two wonderful friends of the show. They've both been on before, and as I said, could not be prouder of both of them. They did an incredible job. They played an incredible game, a showcase of the way 40K should be played in the finals. And Liam was able to take that one out off the back of some really, really cool melee play from both their sides. Fabius Filesberg decided that outside of the wall, it was just going to be immortal. And then
Even in the wall.
proved that was true. He didn't fight Fabius's break during the wall at all,
Yeah, that's true.
because it's the one that heroic out into the squad that came out of the bottom right objective.
Right, I remember that.
So yeah, shout out to all those guys. Yeah, there's another one there. Shout out to Ash or Kiantan, who played David. They timed out on stream, and Ash made the decision to concede because she felt she was in a losing position, despite the fact that David clocked out. I think that's just another sign of
Very,
hey guys,
very solid
play on
sportsmanship there.
guys, play on a clock, please, for the love of all that is holy.
Like an amateur hour.
Willow says it's cool that LGT's gone from the event with a wet rep for weird shit happening to be a pretty cool looking event. LGT has only ever had one year where it was truly bad, and that was the year that it was at the venue before this one. Where from what I understand, for what actually happened there, the story with LGT is that it had that year of the polystyrene unpainted terrain. And what happened that year is that all of the volunteers that Zach had in place to come and help with the terrain just didn't show up. So they did the best they could. And was it good enough? No, it wasn't, frankly, for a premier level event. But since then, it has never been anywhere close to as bad. There are always going to be problems with events of this size. Zach has done an incredible job with the LGT specifically of making sure that all of those problems are always fixed going into the next year. Is the timescale pretty brutal? Yeah, 4 games in a day into 3 games in a day is a lot of Warhammer. But there's no other way to fit games of Warhammer into the time frame that we have to. And I will continue to attend LGT for as long as it runs, because it's the best event in the UK in like the sheer number sense, the fact that everybody's there, and in terms of competitiveness. There's nothing else like it on the calendar.
Yeah.
I think
I will add that I think they could use some more refs, because I think there were only 4 or 5.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think my only gripe with LGT is it probably shouldn't stop after 5. It should cut after 6.
That's a fun discussion. I think that no 5-0 should ever be left out.
Yeah.
No 5-0 is ever left out from LGT.
Oh, really?
Yeah, every 5-0 is
every
given the option
5-0
of continuing
plays.
to play.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
For some reason, I thought I saw that
A
there were
bunch of people
5-0s.
dropped. A bunch of people dropped, and we're just like, I can't play tomorrow or whatever. There were like 5 or 6 people that were just like, I'm not playing on.
Okay, that explains, because I every year I see some 5-0s that aren't in the top bracket.
The
or
UK
round
has, I think, on this sense, the UK has a different scale of event culture because of how easy every event is to travel to. That most people don't take the Monday off work like you would if you go to Vegas. You're probably taking the Monday off work anyway, so it's not too big a
Because you gotta
deal to
fly
play
home
round
on
6 and
Monday.
then but it's like if you fly home like if you book an afternoon flight, you can probably do round 1, and if you can reschedule it, you maybe do, right? Whereas for the LGT, it's most people are probably assuming that they're driving home Monday night and then or Friday night or Sunday night, and then if they do make Top Cut, then they'll find a hotel room or they'll message or call their boss and be like, hey, I'm not coming in tomorrow. Rather, it's kind of like you plan around around not making top 8, and then you adapt if you do, rather than the inverse, just because it's so much more local and easy to travel to. And I think that creates just a different event culture where most people after round 5 want to go home. And that works out for the scale of the event. But everybody who was 5-0 did have the opportunity to play. Nobody was denied. There was enough.
That's good to hear.
There was the rounds were there for everybody to play because we would have just had more people play the shadow round. There were only 4 games in the shadow round this year. There could or
Right.
2 games in the shadow round this year. There could have been up to 8.
Yeah, because
So,
with 11 rounds total, you can have 1,024 players.
10 rounds total.
10 rounds, sorry, yeah, because it's 3-4-3.
Yeah, and there was only 821, so there was guaranteed going to be enough rounds for everybody to play. So there was
Makes
no
sense.
chance that there was undefeated. People just couldn't play. Like Matt McCurdy, one of the Space players who went 5-0, was moving house the next day, so just couldn't make it and stuff like that.
Congratulations on going 5-0. I hope this move went smoothly.
Exactly. It comes up because I was speaking to Matt about it. I hope he doesn't mind me telling him that he's moving house. So yeah,
Sure
that was the only thing. But yeah, LGT, I would highly recommend it if you're in the UK anyway. If you're not, yeah. I am so glad. I will say one other piece of feedback I want to give. The fact that the Invitational was only 3 games was the only reason I was willing to play this year, because it was 5 last year and it was too much. Doing 4 games on the Friday into a game on the Saturday night was too much. But
Yeah.
3 games on the day before was fine, perfectly reasonable. Obviously, Liam went all the way with it. I played the 3 games in the Invitational. A whole bunch of people did, and it was great. And I hope people really enjoyed the coverage. It was great to get to play a cooler list and do some cool stuff. And I did manage to not break my stream curse on Wargames Live, but I did manage to win a game on Wargames Live, which does not happen often. I have a very, very low win rate on that stream, but 1 and 2 on the weekend.
That's how we nerf Innis.
I will say I put my my player profile for the Invitational. I said I wanted 2 things out of the event: that my nemesis was the stream curse, which was true. Both of my losses were on stream. And that I wanted more points out of the event than Grundy. And I did. I closed the gap by 30 points in the ITC rankings.
Nailed it.
2 for 2.
On the subject of Ironstorm, Innes, I just sent you your list for this weekend. You're welcome.
That's probably not going to be what I play.
It won't, because it has a unit of infiltrators in it, which means that you won't play it.
I also
but-
only have 2 Vindies, so
Oh,
me see
even
this
better.
list.
Dude, cut 1 Vindy, cut those infills, you can get
Alright.
some trash or something. I don't know.
God,
Scouts,
that list makes me angry that all fits.
Yeah, that shit's scary, dude.
All right, so just for everyone else's sake, let's just put the list out in public here. I have a feeling that we probably shouldn't do questions if we want Innis to get to bed at a
it's
reasonable
Combi
time.
LT, Calgar, 10 Room with Master Machine War, Squad of 5 Assault Intercessors, 2x5 JPIs, 2 Lancers, 3 Reapers, an Info Squad, and 3 Vindicators. My immediate note is that it definitely needs a Squad of Scouts.
Yeah,
But other than
so
that,
just
yeah.
get rid of the units that you didn't want anyway. The
Yeah, you get
infiltrators.
the infills become scouts and something else.
Or cut the JPIs into scouts and then use that and the points from your extra vindicator to do something the fuck else.
Lancer number 3.
He's not going to take a 3rd Lancer. That
I also
is
don't
useless
own
in
a
like
3rd
half the
Lancer.
matchups.
Yeah, the first and second Lancer are great because like you can just about justify them as like anti-shooting profile because they have blast. Randomly, Lancers have 2 blast guns, which is really funny. But
Yeah,
Because they either have the storm bolters or the.
you always take frag on Lancers.
Well, yeah, you always take the frag storms, but it was very funny you rolling up into Liam and being 2d6 blast, 11 shot. Okay,
into
Oh, no, it was
Bile and doing
into,
like 2 damage.
it was into
Dino. Yeah,
Yeah.
poor Dino is like, is this the Lancer still firing? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm so sorry.
Where are these guns coming from?
Right, let's do show questions super fast. If we blitz through them, I won't feel too bad.
All right, I'm gonna pull up. Do we want to cover last week's questions as well as this week's questions because we ended up delaying, or do we just say if you didn't move your
Right.
question down, you don't
If
get answered?
we promise the speed run that no question lasts longer than a minute, I'm good.
Deal. Okay.
no way.
Weekly
not gonna happen.
questions.
I don't care. We are speed answering.
All right, main show questions. Last week. All right. Dan F asks, what's the next unit begging to be box locked when their codex releases?
Thunderwolf Cav.
Bulgrid.
Cool. Bulgrin are box locked.
Fuck.
Yeah, I was gonna say Bulgrin actually come with 3 and 3.
No.
Yeah, but Thunderwolf Cav would be funny, but they already have heirloom weapons, so it doesn't matter.
Do they come in units of 3? Do Bulgrin come in units of 3?
Yes, they both come in boxes of 3.
What are we talking about? Box lock that shit.
ACDC as well. Lock them to units of 8 of 5 and
No.
3.
That one would be beautiful. I
That's
like that
fucked
idea a
up.
lot.
That's so sad.
I'm tired of ACDC just being everywhere. So,
Yeah.
Right,
How
next
dare you
question.
didn't have the
all right.
audacity to be
Were there
good.
any lists that came out of Champs Cup that did better or worse than you expected?
Triple Exorcist fucking sisters.
I mean,
Yes.
that list. I mean, Typhus did as well with that list as I expected him to.
I think
But-
others were caught off guard by it and how rude it was, and there were some certain moments where the dice favored it exceptionally well.
I mean,
Shout
when you
out to
activate
24 shots, dead Terminator break.
it three of them 5 times, 30 times basically.
Something's going
Like-
to go weird.
Yeah, eventually you're gonna get there. I think though, honestly, the one that I was like most like goddamn from was Kit's List.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, the hyperthick.
Yeah,
It's been everywhere in the UK for months. It's such an annoying list.
It is
Yeah.
a painful list to practice into. All right. Bearded Horus, aka Micah Bacombe, asks which round had the most arousing pairing process and why was it your round 3?
It was every round I was staring at Typhus, so I can't really say anything about this otherwise.
Man is a very beautiful man. Especially when you see how he used to look.
I mean the the round 3 was definitely up there. Like
Round 3 was pretty good.
yeah.
Who's
Though
the
I
third
was, I was a big fan of my round 6 opponent. T and I were buddies by the end of that.
All right. Best jersey and team chant you saw or heard at Champs Cup.
Miami Dice's jersey were the best. The best team
yes.
down was us against XBZ.
Oh no, I thought it was us against Tundra. Tundra
Us
was
against
Tundra
Tundra
was
was the
pretty
best
good.
because they just looked at it and went, "What?"
yeah, Tundra was definitely the most caught off guard. XPZ was like, all right, I get it.
For anyone who wasn't there, our chants tended to just be whatever team we were playing against.
We did anyone but England against Vanguard.
That's
yes,
true.
but that was appropriate.
Yeah.
And I think we just did stat check against making saves because we weren't sure what
Correct.
to do.
Well, the
We
last
said we
round
have to
we
do
should
this at
one.
least
We didn't
once.
want to bully the poor kids.
Yeah, we should do our name once.
All right. That one guy, John, asks, Anthony, how broken did Dark Eldar feel when you played against them? And how the heck does Innis play as GSC list? I mean, go check out Annis's bonus content for how
He's
you play
asking
that list.
Anthony specifically about that.
Oh no. Let's start with the easy question. Drukari did not feel very broken. They felt broken in like the way, like in like the ways of like when someone's like, I'm built different incorrectly. That's how Drukari felt broken. Like, so that was that. And then I have no fucking clue how Innis plays his army. If me and Innis played, he would probably just blast my shit in, unless the correct play against GSC is to not worry about what they can do and just hit them with your face until they go down. If that strategy is actually like the secret to playing against GSC, then I got him. He's fucked. But other than that, I have no idea what his army does. Dan, our coach, watched him play 6 rounds, and at the end of 6 was like, I have not improved my understanding of how this works.
Yep.
So
Again, shout out. I don't remember if you guys did it at the beginning, but huge shout out to Dan. Now he is the surname.
yes.
Dan the surname.
We gave
just
Dan the
amazing.
surname. Yeah.
upstate Dan.
Sorry, Dan.
All right.
All right. Sean asks, do you guys get startled by people yelling for a judge at a nearby table? It's an instant jump scare for me, but that could be dulled by repeated exposure for you guys. I have the opposite problem. I have the where's the hand up because I need to go answer it. Because I'm so used
if
to
my
the judge
opponent
calls
does it,
being
it's a
for
little
me.
bit like warn me first if my opponent does it.
Yeah, and I mean
but-
your opponent will usually be like, "Hey, do you mind if I grab a judge?" And then
No, I just mean like the literal like startle of them shouting in my face is sometimes a little much. But if they turn around first, it's usually not too bad.
yeah, it's like yelling a wah in your opponent's face. You don't do that.
Brian quiet whying at LG2 is my favorite.
I have a card
Such a
somewhere.
respectable.
The person I
Joe
played
then
at
giving him a
WTC
9 out
hands
of
me a
10 just
card.
because he was tired was great. All right. Sean has a second question. In my Champs Cup fatigue fugue state, I seem to recall that when Votan launched, you could take them as Imperial allies. Did anyone ever do it? Why did GW do it? Will they do it again? I failed you because I forgot to look this up again, but you could take them
You
as a
could.
patrol.
It was terrible.
Well, the reason it was terrible is it broke every single army. You basically got no rules if you did it.
Landforts weren't that good.
Yeah, and the reality is you also then didn't get tokens either, so you didn't get your Votan rules
fives,
either.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't remember
Crusade
ever
rule was
seeing
not-
it in the
You
stats.
didn't get lethal hits, crit 4s. So
God, Lord. in
God, when
heaven,
you put it
was-
that way, that is oh.
that's what the rule was.
It's
All right,
sometimes it's better to forget.
I guess it's for all us. What do you guys think of the terrain mix-up as it was a mashup of WTC, GW, and FLG boards? Did it make pairings harder, more interesting? And how did the non-WTC boards feel?
They were
Seemed fine.
fine. It was not a big deal. Like, I would prefer it was 8 WTC boards, but like the rest were
Given
fine.
what was available to them, and given the fact that I think they built like 200 WTC tables in the months leading up to that,
Yeah, they like from a logistics perspective, stellar effort.
Yeah.
The rest, yeah.
Yeah, I would honestly, I would play exactly the same format again. It was fine.
no, I think it was good. It was interesting. It definitely changed things up a little bit. There were some teams like the Red Dragon team who were very much used to just playing on WTC that did a bit of a very quick adjusting to, oh yeah, JW tables are very interesting to play on.
Yeah, when you're not used to
Dan and
it.
the guys did so much prep.
Yeah.
We definitely rolled up and were like, let's figure out how the terrain is as we go.
I practiced on that terrain because I needed to make sure my list worked on it.
I did not.
Yeah, but you're Damascus at its finest.
Special. 1% more powerful than the rest of us.
All right. Oh no. All right. Chris Pauly asks, do you think the BA Angelic Descent Detachment will end up just being a shooting BA list?
No.
Inceptors and suppressors. And then running some
Uh,
chaff for scoring units as a strat buff for the 1 to 2 squads of Sandguard.
Calm down on the suppressors, but that detachment is good. Like,
Yes.
there's a bunch of like really good rules in there. I don't know about it's not like make suppressors viable good, but
I'm not
Who
gonna
knows?
stop
Maybe they
for
go
the
down
next
in
question.
points again.
I don't care. They'd have to be like 30 points before I played them.
I think
Um,
like 70 points, and you actually legitimately look at taking a unit of them.
So 70 points, right? What's their gun do? Don't look it up.
It's, if I remember correctly, it's 2 shots at 913.
This is the sound of me looking it up because this.
I know it
needs a
is.
lot of
I don't
work
think
to
it is
be
actually.
good.
No, it's the worst autocannon. So it's probably like 2 shots at 712 and imparts a -1 to hit.
So yeah, it's worse than everything you just said. It's 3 shots, which is cool, but it hits on 4s at 812.
712.
I'm looking at it with my eyeballs right now. It's 812.
App says, so she said 712 in the chat. I was just correcting you based on the chat. I don't actually
Yeah.
assume I know anything.
Yeah.
It's as heavy. It has heavy though, right?
I don't give a shit, Jeremy.
Oh, dude, they'll be great
It
in
has
Anvil
heavy
Siege
on a
Force.
unit that moves 10 inches that you never want to stand still with.
Dude, if you ingress them in Anvil Siege Force, they will be +1 to wound.
Dude, they're not even Gravis anymore. Were they ever?
They were
No,
never
they were
Gravis.
never Gravis. They're
They're
full boss.
toughness 4 with 2 wounds.
Yeah,
This
yeah, no,
unit's
because they
so
came out with
bad.
Shadow Spear,
Shadow Spear. Yep. They're
I
and that's
don't
still,
know
I
that
think,
I
the
would
only
run-
source of them.
I am not confident that I would run these if they were 30 points. I would think
You
about
definitely
it.
would. You'd run 6.
Holy-
You would run 3 squads if they were 30 points
I
total.
don't think you would.
They're a jump pack unit for 30 points. You would 100% take them.
Dude, this is a fucking bad unit, bro. That's real.
Thanks, Brian. You know how I can tell Innis stayed at my place for a week? All the bottles in my house had their labels peeled off. Hashtag Damascus.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
this unit's
next
bad.
question.
Don't do that.
Yes, it might be a shooting list, but I also think that it actually just has general play because Uppy Downy is good.
You just play with like
Good
a good bit. You just play the same list you were going to play, but you put in Inceptors as your shooting instead of anything else.
Yep. Your Death Company, you get Inceptors.
All right. Dan F asked, would the stat check team want a mascot at the next tournament? If so, what would this mascot be?
I bought this adorable creature at the airport, and I want a Don't Mess with Stat Check version.
Don't mess with stat check version of that would be great. For me, it'd be a Canada Goose with the fuck around,
Wait.
find out.
Jeremy, put your head like that way a bit.
Yeah, go up and left.
Can we get someone to wear like a stat check helmet and be Mr. Stat Check for us?
Like Daft Punk.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Put some lights on the side.
Yeah, it would be sick. That would be so cool.
Mike Kellermorph has the Stat Check logo as inside the GSC Ouroboros, or like
Hell
the SC
yeah.
inside the GSC Ouroboros as his back, like on his back cape.
Nice.
So
That's dope.
All right. All right. So Isaac has a longer question. Wants to make an effort to win his next GT, and he has both Thousand Sons and Dark Angels army ready to go. Especially after Champs Cup, I feel exceptionally comfortable with both armies. I'm really stuck on which has a better chance when played optimally to get me that GT win.
well, then
They're
pick
like-
whichever one you feel better about.
Yeah, that's a comfort choice. The
Yeah, I
amount
think
of,
in
like,
They're
in that
both
case,
good,
both of
dude.
them are comfort choices. I'd say they both have an equal number of good and bad matchups. Most of them good.
yeah, the overwhelming majority are good.
Yeah.
Just if there's
I
going to be a
say
ton
take
of
Dark
hypercrit
Angels because
players,
they're cool to me, but also don't take them because I don't want them to get nerfed.
If there's going to be a ton of hypercrit players, probably don't play Dark Angels.
Yeah.
You do not want to get Silent King and Doomsday Arc to death. It fucking
Yeah,
sucks.
just play Thousand
Brian.
Sons. as ever, the answer when like I'm really good at Thousand Suns and also literally anything fucking else, play Thousand Suns.
Unless you're Liam VSL, in which case do whatever the fuck you
No,
want to.
even
Nobody's
then,
gonna...
just play fucking Thousand Suns.
He should have played Thousand Suns this weekend, but unfortunately, we cannot say that without him going, "Yes, but I won."
I think we still can. Right.
You still can.
This week,
yeah.
this week's questions. 1 minute threat. 1 minute deadline.
Go.
All right. What was your favorite of Liam versus Pumbaa arguments at Champs Cup?
Mortarian is the best Primarch.
The one where it was ended by Liam shrugging and going, "Guess you roosh badly," and then the whole room dying. That was the absolute peak.
Yep.
God, I love Warhammer.
Highly recommend having Liam and Pumbaa on the same team and in the same room talking about anything.
just the
I
same
just,
room
I'm so
works.
hyped for Pyra in February again, just
Yeah.
for having everybody around.
All right. What is your biggest chaos preview wish list item for Saturday's stream?
Jugger Cav.
Fuck you. That was earnest. That was not content. That was from the bottom of my heart. Fuck you. I fucking swear to God, if they give us Jugger Calf, I'm gonna be so mad.
It's the only
Hey,
thing
you
I'm
finally have someone that you can put your Invicata's wish.
Oh,
Jugger Cav with a Terminator character.
Jesus fuck. A Terminator character I would accept. A Terminator character that gave them a meaningful buff could make that unit worth using.
Yeah, it gives them +1 to hit and +1 to wound when the unit's below half.
No, they do that already. If he does that, in addition to them already having that, I would again be upset.
He gets
Counters -1
so he can get a
hit.
5 up.
I
I
mean,
don't know. I
the
want
thing
to see something with demons. We haven't heard anything about
Demons.
them.
The thing I've said for ages that I've wanted, that I would just like, you know, I was like, at the time I used to say I won't play anything but World Leaders, but now I play team events and no one else is good at them, so I play nothing but World Leaders. But if they just gave us an 8-bound like dude that was just like copy paste the profile from 9th, the Exalted Sergeant profile from 9th, just put that on his data sheet and let him join 8-bound units, and I would just
There's no data sheet rule, just big stat man.
yeah, no, he does fucking nothing for his unit.
He has an
0
extra
buffs.
wound and he has.
Yeah, they can leave him at 3 wounds. I do not care. Like, just give him big slam.
And he's
All
on
right.
he's on a juggernaut. Yep.
Nick
there we
K
go.
asked a question that we 100%
Fine.
can't answer in a minute, but I'm going to try to make it real quick. Do you think the charge and fight phase movement rules are a problem?
I've given up. I just stop changing them. Just let people do 1-inch charges on walls in ruins, and just stop fucking with it.
Every single
time,
version, yeah.
Every time they touch it, it gets massively worse. Where like I'm doing the same jank I was doing in 9th, and it's 100% harder to explain to my opponent if they don't already know what's happening. It's the
And that's the problem with whenever they change it, is that people finally
Oh.
figure out like a year and a
Yeah.
half into the edition how it works, and then they go, "Oh wait, that's not how it works anymore."
Just leave it alone. Most people who this ruling that would want it to be more casual anyway are already playing it maximally casually and just ramming their models into base to base.
That's how I see
Just-
tag players play.
Probably. Like just let them do it that way. Just fucking leave it be. There's a little bit of skill expression still there. You still have to set things
The
up in
reality is
advance.
every time that they try to tighten it up, it usually just ends up being more fucked.
It gets so much worse. Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone.
All right.
Pariah beats Leviathan.
Yeah. It's been 3 months. How do you feel about Pariah thus far compared to Leviathan? Was it a step backwards? What improvements you'd like to see? I'd say it was a neutral step, but that's more because I really like the improvements to the secondary deck. But secondary, I am now firmly in Anthony's camp of secret missions are dumb.
Secret missions are dumb. I miss tempting targets so fucking bad.
Yeah, they fucked up the secondary deck a lot, I think. I think there's generally just a step backwards that has been like smoothed over with army balance being a lot better in Pariah.
Fair.
Not that is
I would
what
agree.
Pariah, not Pariah's fault, but we didn't have to
Yeah.
play, release Eldar in Pariah, right? Like that's the
We
nightmare.
sell there with
That's
secret
like
missions.
the
Please no.
the fuck God, why, please?
When Lisandro would just lose to Grey Knights, it'd be great. We'd have the best time.
Yeah, but the problem is then they'd never get nerfed, and everyone else who had to play into them would suffer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's true.
that's what I'm saying. So yes, it is a step back. That's fine because army balance is really good right now. Honest to God, if in the next balance thing they just didn't touch an army, like literally no models change, and changed worked on fixing the missions pack, that would be lovely. It's not what's
That's
gonna
pretty
happen
cool.
because we got to sell shit. But in theory, that would be dope.
The reality is that if it makes other armies more feasible, they'll still sell shit.
Probably, but yeah, that would be the ideal from my perspective.
Yeah. All right. Dick Vanderhurst asks for Innes. I'd love a quick talk on how you decided his invitational army, why it wasn't GSC, and how the Redemptors performed. Also, if you change anything
that's my
about it.
bad.
Oh God.
All right,
That's
you got
my
You got
mistake.
1 minute. All right. I wanted to play something that wasn't GSC because it was frankly too much Warhammer to play with GSC. I was not there to play 23 games of GSC in a week. So I decided I was going to play Ironstorm, and I spoke to Anthony about it. I was like, "Hey, I'm looking at sending Ironstorm. Shoot me a list." And then he shot me a list, and I was like, "Well, I don't have half of that shit, so here's what I'm going to play instead." Someone still has the loan of my Calidus Assassin and all of my Predators and Vindicators because I gave them to our CSM player and our Custodies player for WTC. I've not got them back yet, so I literally just went diving down box and was like, "What have I got? Redemptors, fine, throw them in." So I shoved them in, and I was like, "This will do." And then I put a Collectus in because I wanted to try it after the update, and it was broadly fine because Ironstorm, I stand by this as being the rule for Ironstorm from day one. If you picked your 8 favorite vehicles, you would have done fine in Ironstorm for the entirety of the time that it existed, and it basically didn't matter as long as you included 3 Reapers. And then everything after that is like, yeah, you just pick your 5 favorite after that, and your list's going to be fine. So if you want to play Ironstorm, chill the fuck out. Just put vehicles in, it'll be fine. The Thunderstrike was great. The speed was dope. I would love to have played a Storm Raven, but I didn't want to transport it. Like, it was fine. Redemptors were completely reasonable.
2 up
I
save
wish they
minus
were
1 damage is
83.
pretty good.
Yeah, there were some matchups they just refused to die, just straight up.
Like
Like
some
they
matches
walked
where they just kind of sat in combat and slowly died to Curse Cultist.
Yeah, dude. But you know what they sure did is when they got blood surged into, they still fought them. So
Yep.
All right. Noah TY asks for Jeremy, how did you guys utilize Votan in teams, and how does the Tau Monka matchup look from the lens of the Votan player? Different perspectives depending on different builds. So we went into this 100% with I'm going to play Votan and I'm just going to play for 10s. I'm not going to try to win big. I'm going to make sure that I never get blown out regardless of what matchup I went into. There were like a handful of matchups that I was very about, but I was also willing to just take it on the chin and see what happens for the team because the list just had a ton of trash in it, and it was designed to be fairly terrain agnostic as a result. Monka is a little squirrely, but also I can hold back as a defending army because I don't need to push to win big, and Monka is on a clock. Like if I was playing like max bikes, max sags, where I have to push early, where I'm leaning into that scouting pressure, the Monka matchup gets really weird. All right. Dick Vanderhurst asks again for everyone just wanting to feel the vibe on what people expect for this year's WCW. Are the big name players going, and will it be a real competitive showcase event?
all of the best
Please don't
players in
spend all of
US
the
and
answer
Canada
talking
will
about the
be there.
clock. We all agree on that one. It should have a clock policy involving actual clocks.
It'll have all the best players from the US and Canada and a bunch of international players. I know there's a bunch of people going from like a lot of international communities like Singapore and China and stuff like that are going to be dope. I would not expect as big a Euro presence this year as last year. I think that's kind of the way
it
I would
is.
say.
A significant
I'm pretty sure still a
portion-
larger European presence, but it's a different group of European players than the ones that attended last year. I
Yeah,
think
and
that
it's
there are more French players because they had more invitationals or more qualifiers this time around. I would expect fewer UK players.
It's also a significantly reduced presence from like the top of the US scene, I would say as well.
I would say again, different subset of them.
I mean, there's only so much top of the scene, and a lot of it.
If you looked at who attended last year, well, actually wasn't that many of them.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people are making the right choice and going to Cali Cup instead. That event's way cooler.
Look, I want to hang out with my international friends. So
I would love to go this year. The timing didn't work out. Like I would have gone if it had worked out and I had won a ticket and it was paid, but it wasn't. And I didn't. There are less paid tickets this year, which has definitely been a curtailer for the UK people. I know for that for a fact.
Yeah, funding for the tickets, it's an expensive trip, even for like as a Canadian, it's still expensive.
Yeah, just coming down from New York was not cheap.
Yep. All right. Ben Urich asks, best meal you had in Texas? 100% the barbecue we had on the Saturday night. But the barbecue that we ordered in on the Sunday night was actually quite good too.
Me. Like it was hot. The barbecue we had on the Saturday night was a little cold by the time I got it. So I think the barbecue we had on the Sunday was better for me. But
fair.
It was real good.
Either way, barbecue was good.
Yeah, the barbecue was dope. I think the one we went to was a little bit better than the one we ordered in, but same. I was so fucking exhausted by the time I ate either of them that I was like, dude, let's go.
Yep.
Did Innes have fun? I did. I've had a great 2 weeks. I am very ready to be at home for a bit. I'm thoroughly enjoying being home. My family's actually on holiday in Croatia right now, so I've got the house to myself for a few
Oh,
days
you
to detox.
Big quiet house, dude.
Dude,
Nice.
it's dude, I'm not going to see another. I went to the shop today at like 8 p.m. And it was the first time I'd seen a human that wasn't me in like 24 hours, and I was like, ugh, disgusting.
People, terrible.
Yeah, I'm at a GT this weekekend. So
Besides that,
no rest for the wicked.
Yeah.
All right, we've got
but yes,
6
I had a good
questions
time.
left.
oh, we're doing good.
6
We're on
minutes.
pace.
7 minutes.
All right. Taos asks us,
9, by the
basically
way.
Alex Taos wants to know why you think that Votan and GK are somewhat favored world leader matchups, while T-Suns is unplayable.
T-Suns is unplayable because my practice into T-Suns was getting fucking lambasted by like on point tier 1 fucking nation practice games where like we were testing, even like good scenarios for me and I was still getting 20'd. So that seemed like as close as I could get to phrasing something as unplayable. That match was just like super cursed. The screening, the damage, it's just like all of it. If the T-Suns player makes the right moves, is too much.
Is it a bit better now that they don't have the indirect on the Infernal Masters?
No, because they'll just go find you, and that part is bad. A lot of it is that they can essentially have a second shooting phase every turn in your movement phase if the Thousand Suns player positions correctly, and that is just an untenable amount of Thousand Suns shooting phases for a world leader's army. There's
Yeah, I went to play a game against Florian where he just never rolled below a 7 on Infernal Master shots.
Yeah,
It's just like,
I'm-
why is nothing living ever?
Look, if you like pass a bunch of fallback lock, like if you like succeed on some fallback locks and really like grit teeth, make it dirty, and they fuck it up, dude, you can win. That can happen. But that is not a thing I'm willing to rely on or pair for in a team's environment, basically at all. If I have to play against a Thousand Suns player in singles, I'm just going to try and make him very uncomfortable and make sure that I have the clock ticking on him while he makes decisions, and hopefully he clocks out. And that's kind of what it is. Votan and GK. GK is as kind of shown from, I think Lachlan was the best Grey Knights player outside of probably like Johan and Vladdy that I played. Which is like, you could do worse for fucking GK competition than
Just a little bit.
the winner of WTC, Vladdy and Lachlan. A lot of it is like making sure you're not getting out of your rhinos too early, making sure that you're using the Exalted out of Rapid Ingress. The 6-man Exalted unit specifically out of Rapid Ingress is like a fucking capital P problem for Grey Knights. They have like a really hard time dealing with that. And if you can make sure they have to deal with that at the same time they have to deal with Angron, you're in the money. Votan is just a really fair army with not a very good leadership characteristic, so you just punch them and get a 12. It's not like a super exciting matchup. It's probably going to be pretty drawish. If they fuck it up literally at all, though, you destroy them.
Yep. That sounds right. All right. What a great game versus Innis versus Liam at the Invitational. Is there huge difference in Votan win rates between the US and the rest of the world? That is something that you can dive into using the meta dashboard. We do have region filters, so just go check that out. I'm sorry, Goran, but that is something that I'm not really going to dig into for you live.
And thank you for the compliment. I really had fun with that game.
Yes. All right. Ashley asks, question for Innis. How much do you think GSC success is due to the power of the faction versus people not knowing how to play against it?
I think the list is genuinely just good. There is not a whole lot of like informational advantage you get from knowing that the list is going to shoot you if you stand on objectives and has some more wound output. Like there's definitely a bit of people don't expect the damage from Ridge Runners or how defensively they can play while still getting around the board, or that just like don't run numbers on like flamer output, which definitely is a thing, but that's every army. People don't underestimate damage output all the time. I don't think that's unique to Gene Cult. Is it a bit more pronounced with the specific? Is people underestimating just how much touching an objective? Yeah, it's definitely not helpful, but I don't think anything changes if your opponent knows. Like, it's not like I go into my games and don't tell my opponent, hey, if you sign an objective, you're going to get shot to death. Like, that's just a thing that happens. So, no, I think the army's just genuinely good.
Yep, makes sense. All right. This is a question for Anthony from Isaac Terada. I want to get involved with the Team USA in the future, but I struggle to travel enough to get the larger events to get that top 100. What are the best ways to get to a place where I am able to apply? So I'm going to give you one quick answer to that. Large events don't necessarily skyrocket your ELO nearly as much as small events do because it's about the caliber of the players you're playing against. So you could play in a bunch of small events and still push your ELO up.
Yeah, if I remember right, Isaac, you're specifically in the Pacific Northwest, which is a pretty good spot for grinding elo because you have some high elo people there, and then you have a lot of people that play a lot, so you have the opportunity to like, crush on some nerds and get some elo points. The other like fast track that allows people to apply for Team USA is getting a recommendation or a sponsor from someone that's currently on the team in the applicant voting pool. This is done specifically for people in your scenario or people that play a lot of team events or TTS events. That are like good solid grinders that don't necessarily have the means to travel to a ton of events. This sword kind of cuts both ways a little bit. Being on Team USA is pretty expensive. Between like the in-person practice weekends, the like overseas events that we do in the lead up during the year, and obviously like getting to Belgium is pretty expensive. So it's not like, we're not on purpose self-selecting people out for that, but that is like a thing you're expected to be able to do outside of like, the team contributes to kind of help struggling individuals when and where possible, provided they've made the team. But it's like a thing that you kind of need to be able to do as well. So it's like a sword that cuts both ways. But like the direct answer of like the fast track to try to like make your way onto the team next year is showing faction expertise in a way that we don't currently have someone to like kind of fill that role for. Notably, like last year in the lead up to the event, like after List went live and a bunch of people had Votan, we literally struggled to find practice reps into people that had played Votan more than like 3 to 4 times internally this edition. Not this balance patch, not this like any of this edition. So yeah, stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. That would be like my general advice for anyone trying to get onto Team USA is if you know someone that's already on, try and like hit them up regarding their like sponsor slot basically, or what they can do to improve that kind of in their eyes and so on and so forth. But yeah, that's the idea.
Told. Bryn asks, I have a 70-person GT coming up in a few weeks. Do I continue to play World Eaters, which I played all of Pariah, or do I switch to my recently painted Votan?
Flip a coin. If you're upset, play the one that you didn't win.
That's
If you find yourself saying best 2 out of 3,
I mean,
go the opposite direction.
Have an honest conversation with yourself about what you're like actually want from this event. Is it like to continue to improve and get better and put up a good result, or is it like, not that?
For Angron in the chat, Yellow Run Games already updated.
Yep.
They updated like today, right? Because my
last night I have a couple errors that cropped up that I need to fix before I head out, but it's mostly up to date. It's mainly Kit.
I'm in second in both rankings. Woohoo!
God damn it, Kit.
God damn it, Kit.
I blame BCP for this one. All right. Last few questions. All right. Gabe C basically asks, how much value do you place in playing factions where people have very few reps into? I don't think that matters.
I don't place value in it inherently.
But it definitely has value.
When I have, so what I would say, when I have the choice between 2 factions that I think are equally powerful and one of them is less played, I will defer to the one that is less played. But I'm a person that likes to change factions quite a lot, whereas I know Anthony doesn't value that at all. I would say I would generally prefer, if I have the choice, to play something that is less known because it is less prepared for. Like right now, even if I thought Blood Angels were as good as Dark Angels, I wouldn't play Blood Angels because people have played against Blood Angels for significantly longer, etc., etc. GSC, I think I would put that list top 5 to 10 in the game right now, and I don't think there's much like difference between them and a bunch of the other things I was playing. So it was very easy to be like, okay, I'm going to play it. I'm going to switch off them because I'm now a little bored of them and a little burned out on playing them. So I'm going to swap off them for a bit and then keep myself fresh so that I can play them rolling into like Celtic Cup and LVO if I want to do it that way. But I'm not going to burn out over them for the next few weeks. And I don't think playing before the next bounce match is going to affect me that much.
Yeah, I said this on stream and like Joe kind of co-opted it, that people had like actually negative reps into you and us, because like not only did they not have reps into what you were doing, they probably had like either reps into the wrong detachment or suboptimally played versions of that detachment that gave them
or the
poisoned,
index.
Yeah, or gave them like poisoned information about what they thought this was going to look like, which can entirely fuck up what a matchup looks like. I benefit from this all the time as World Eaters, where people are like, oh yeah, I play World Eaters all the time. We get like 10 minutes into a game, they're like, I literally have no idea what you're doing. Can you please explain X, Y, and Z to me? And I'm like, oh, sure. Yeah, let's go through it, I guess.
Yeah, when your opponent's like, hey, can we just do this as a coaching game, like midway through turn 2, you're like, yes, as soon as I've won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sebastian asked, where did all the Crusher Stampedes go after WTC? They're still out
Directly
there.
under the heel of Sisters.
Dude,
too.
that list is still fucked, but yeah, Sisters Bringers is pretty good into it. So
Shout out to Nathan for going 4-1 and finishing top 30 something. Nathan Roberts with Crusher Stampede still. Like, they're still good. They're just, Nids aren't that amazing. They're just fine.
they're
Yep.
just quite good.
Yeah,
Alright, Willow
Nids are
asked-
just a middle of the pack army.
And this is a question more for Innis than anything else. Is my own bias from mostly playing on WTC or GW maps, but the shooting lines on WKTC look insane? You live like this?
No, dude, it's so rough.
I earnestly think the shooting lines both weren't that crazy, and after talking to Brian today, we were both like absolutely convinced he would have won the event if he had taken World Leaders instead of Orcs. That army, those boards are nuts if you're fast.
They are both. All right.
Yeah. The
Like-
trick on UKTC is not to be shooty or melee. It is to be fast and not slow.
Yeah, agreed. I
Fair.
want to caveat this. If you opt into the shooting lines, they are insane, but you
Yeah.
are perfectly capable of opting out of them. Now, what that did mean is that shooty mirrors were really flippy on these boards, but you were allowed to opt out of that. Now, some lists, like my list, had the Ridge Runners. When I played Josh, he had the Predators, and we had this massive shooting line that we both opted into, and I outshot him on the shooting line and took board control. He didn't have to do that. I didn't have to do that, but there weren't other places to go. The UKTC
Yeah, the
boards
same
are
thing
very
happened
much
with you
like-
and Dino.
Exactly. You wanted control. There is generally 1 or 2 arterial shooting lines that if you can gain control of, you can dictate your opponent's pace of play quite a lot. And having the ability to do that or opting out of doing that is very important on UKTC boards. Are they stupidly long? Yes. Are they bad? Hard to say. They are different from other
They
terrain
tend to be
formats.
very narrow as well. So
Yeah, like Lancers, fucking love them. Just sitting a Lancer on like that 72 shooting line, I'm
Yeah.
like, I control this entire thing and I can move to safety.
Yep.
They were really good for things like fire and fading fire prisms, things like that. They could really control that speed. But UKTC is about being fast. It is a fast format, but it's not necessarily about fast infantry. It's just about being fast in general. But fast infantry certainly helps pretty good. So
yeah, makes sense. All right. Keaton asks, will a faction hit 100 event wins? And if so, who? If Sisters don't get adjusted, maybe, but I don't think so. I don't think anyone's
It's
close to that
Eldar.
right now in 10th.
what's sitting at the top right now?
It's Eldar. Eldar's going to do it the minute.
Eldar is sitting at like 40, I think, for the year or the
I-
edition.
I don't
Let me
think
double
that. Aren't
Let me
they
take
at,
a
like
look.
way more than that?
I'm looking
Maybe
at it. I'm
wrong.
loading it up right now. So across the edition, Eldari have 77 event wins.
Never mind, they're
Chaos
gonna hit it.
Space Marines-
Yeah, dude. Eldar are gonna
Necrons are in
get it.
second with 54, and then Chaos Space Marines with 40.
Never mind, Eldar will
I
hit
would
sometime in
expect
the next year and a
Eldar.
half.
I would
Eldar-
expect Eldar, Necrons, and CSM to all hit it.
Especially since the
Eldar
Eldar Codex is coming out in what, January, February?
Dude, Eldar get it inside 3 weeks of their Codex release.
Yeah, I would expect Eldar, Necrons, CSM to do it, and I think
Oh,
Marines
that
combined will
hurts,
probably do
but
it.
yeah. All right, and the very last question from Charles. Anthony, since we're talking about such meta units as suppressors, at what points cost would you run the Disco Lord?
100.
The disc was kind of fun in Raiders and would not need a ton to be viable in that detachment alone.
He needs.
Yeah, I agree.
He does need a ton because he's
How many
mounted.
points is he
not
right now?
vehicle.
Mounted is good in Raiders, right?
I guess.
Because in Raiders he gets
Holy
the
shit,
flat
he's
6 advanced strat,
190
right?
points right now?
Yeah, 190 he's absurd.
Fucking horrible.
Yeah.
He
I like
really, honest to God,
120, yeah.
what they should do is just buff his rules a shitload. He should get the
Yes.
Deathwing Knight treatment, not the other stuff. Like his rules should just be like fucking scary.
I would just shove like 2 strength, an AP, and a damage on him, and then make
Yeah,
him
on all of
go
his
to
weapon
town.
profiles.
Yeah,
No, Willow, Eldari are at 77 event wins. Oh, yeah, for the whole event, for the whole edition, they are at a 57% win rate. Yes, they are still the most winning army of the,
yes.
of the edition. Despite
Gene
everything
Circle's
that's happened.
notably still at 4th overall, which is hilarious to me after how long they've been kind of terrible.
I mean, that opening part of the edition was wild for them.
It was real bad.
I'm sorry,
How
all
is
your
this
battle
thing
line just
somehow
infinitely
worse than I
recurse.
remember? This, I just looked up the disco again just to make sure. It's somehow worse than I remember.
Yeah,
it
he's
being.
terrible.
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
Yeah, he needs more attacks on top of all the things that you just said.
And you know
Yeah.
what the best part about him is?
Why does he hit on 3s?
Well, yeah,
That's
but
his horse.
he's mounted, so he
I
doesn't
know.
even benefit from like the Vashtor detachment.
Yeah,
Well,
but he does. He
to-
gets the flat 6
yeah,
advanced strat, which I think is
yeah,
actually kind of
yeah.
cool.
To Innis's point, he gets some stuff from being Raiders.
Give
Though he can't
4
advance a-
like
he can't advance a charge. right?
That strat's mounted or infantry.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, so I guess he does get that in Raiders. It's more like the Technovirus Injector. It's anti-vehicle 2-up, but it doesn't do dev. Like, of all the things to do it, you would expect. It's
Yeah,
one
it's
attack, it's strength 3, AP 3, 2 damage.
Yeah, it's
like
just really bad.
stick 2 on his movement. Give him a 4 vulnerable save. Give him like 6 attacks and 6 attacks. Like get him up to 12 attacks at like strength 8, AP 3, damage 3. And then make it like leave him at the same points.
I mean, at that point, you could make him even more expensive, and I would be okay with it.
Probably,
Like-
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like you leave the limbs at like what, like 6-2-2 or something like that. You move the chain glaive up to like 8-2, 8-3-3 or something like that.
3-3.
and, like,
Yeah, and then he stays at the same points, and then we're talking about like a good
like-
but not insane model.
you stick the enhancement on him for rerolls if he's within 12 of your opponent's deployment zone and he
yeah.
goes to town. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, as reparations for anyone that's ever had to build one of these fucking things. They
Yeah,
should
but
be good.
enough of us have played
I will
against
never
them when
finish
they were
painting one.
insane in 8th and 9th, so no.
Right. I should quickly do the plugs.
Actually, we have 3 questions in the chat that I did
Oh,
tag.
we have, cool, that's
one
fine. I'm going to load the
is-
plugs up while you're doing the questions.
Yeah, so I do want to thank Micah McComb for the $2. So awesome playing, you guys. PS Exorcists are fine. No, they're not. NB Archon says, are you looking forward to WCTC this weekend, Jeremy? Are any teams you are worried about? I am very much looking forward to it. I will 100% admit that I've had my head down for the last week and a bit, so I don't know who's actually going to be there. So I'm going to be reading through lists over the next couple days to figure out my matrix. And the last one, I tagged this just because I think it's very interesting. Anthony, how much would we need to pay to make the Anthony versus Scary showdown happen on stream?
A fucking lot. Flying to Canada is expensive.
No. Like, okay. So outside of getting the two of you into the same room, how much to have that showdown on stream and for there to be like a meaningful wager behind it?
I don't know. Oh, I actually just remembered from the before times that I actually have to get a Cabal of the Blackheart tattoo. That's a really old bet that I just entirely forgot about until right now. I don't know. I don't have a number.
So,
for
Anthony,
this.
how old is that tattoo bet? Just out of
Oh,
curiosity.
Old. It's from when I went to my first super major.
Okay,
'Cause
so I have a decent amount of time before I needed GSC one. Got it.
No, that was just I forgot.
Yeah, that's fine. I forgot to.
Oh no, we'll remind you.
We're gonna
constantly.
remind you constantly. What do you mean?
I'm sure that we can find a tattoo artist in Leoben next summer if you don't have
That
that.
doesn't seem
summer.
likely.
If you think he's making it to the summer without getting this, you are high. There is no chance.
Alpine then Pyra.
We'll get him it before WTC. Custodies should not be adjusted at all. Please leave them alone. Just let them
Remove
be, like,
all of their Forge World and then
Alright.
No,
give them
just-
some.
And since
literally
we're short or lovely, Nathan, how do you want to do the closeout?
just don't touch them.
Just grab the thing and read them like an adult. Right,
All
I'm
right,
going to do
I
the
will
plugs. All right, guys. If you're with us, and 2 hours and 27 minutes into this return to form stream, we will be back next week as always. If you want to catch us when we do that, you can check out our YouTube at youtube.com/statcheck. We're live at 11 p.m. UK time or 6 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday, except last Tuesday because we were all sick, ill, or traveling. So we hope that you will get to join us. While you're there, if you want to leave a like, a comment on the most recent video, drop us a subscription or any of those good things, we would really appreciate it. You can also find all of the information for all the other stuff we're going to talk about in the description of the video. If you're listening on a podcast app, that's the best way to make sure that you're catching up with live, seeing our wonderful faces, and occasionally Anthony's pickles as well. That's a cat. Don't worry about it. I promise that wasn't rude. If you're interested in supporting a bit more and you're in a position to, you can check out patreon.com/statcheck, where you can join such incredible people as almost the entire LGT top 10 in Discord. You can chat with all of us about tournaments, about the ongoings. You can join the Vibe Check League. You can get discount codes to some of our sponsors, all that good stuff and more at patreon.com/statcheck for $5 a month. You can also pay a little bit more and get your name shouted out at the end of the show every week, which Jeremy is probably finding out how to do now. It's miserable every week and I love it. It's my least favorite part of the show and it's the best part of the show. So thank you to that. If you're interested in checking out any of our sponsors, you can check out Red Dragon with 20% discount code for StatCheck patrons at red-dragon.ca for all of your hobby, wargaming, and board games and card game needs. You can check out Saltar Games, Whale and Yutani, and J15 Games all on their various websites. That's etsy.com/shop/Saltar Games for WC Terrain, sponsors, widgets, tokens, measuring gauges, all that kind of thing from Saltar Games in the UK. For wayland-utani.com for Wayland-Utani with code StatCheck5. You will get 5% off on all of the terrain for WTC, GW terrain, anything you need based out of Europe. And if you're looking for GW US open style terrain or widgets measuring gauges in the US, you can check out J15 Games on Etsy with 10% off with code StatCheck there. There are a bunch of other shows on the network. They're all on the YouTube, as I mentioned before. If you're interested in any of the other content that we've done, I'm so sorry. This always takes forever. You can check out all the other content we've got. You've got Take Out Commerce, End of the Matrix. The return of XM1 is imminent. We are promised. I think we've got Champions of 40K, who just did their episode with Kicker Colodzi from Frontline Gaming. You can also find all of the new stuff that I'm doing, whether that's my tournament reports or the Beyond the Basics series, which I did do the first episode of a couple of weeks ago. I was not here to plug that one, so I thank you to the guys for doing that one for me. If everyone's been enjoying that stuff, please do continue to feed my ego. It desperately is required, because otherwise I will just forget to do stuff. I was just having a look. There's like 5,500 views on my Gene Circuit video now, which is like, yep, just straight sending the ego straight to the roof. It's great. It's really, really all I'm looking for in life. Lastly, if you're interested in making sure that I can continue to eat, as well as all of the rest of the guys can continue to do things in 40K, you can check out stat-check.com/coaching or drop us an email at coaching@stat-check.com if you'd like to get some help with working on anything. We are due a balance date imminently. We've got LVO coming up. We've got World Championships of Warhammer. There's so much stuff coming up in 40K. If you're looking at getting a hand with any of it, drop us a message, and any of our wonderful coaches would love to give you a hand in growing yourself as a 40K player. I think that's it. I think that's all I have. Jeremy, do you want to roll us out with that thing, and then I'll do the closeout and we can stop.
As Innes mentioned, one of the bonuses to signing up to the $15 tier, in addition to being greeted with a crisp high five at an event by myself or Nathan, or being asked, are you sure that's how that works, or getting a lovely kiss from Typhus or Pumbaa.
Someone tried to claim that off me at LGT, and I gave him a dice instead. So
nice. Yeah. And Nathan also has very cool little like crisp high five tokens that AJ over at Saltire Games made for him. So those were real awesome. So you get shouted out at the end of the show. So in no particular order, aside from the order that is on the screen in front of me, we have Christopher has officially left Scotland for England, Irvine. We have Willow Weeks. We have Dan F. We have Luke, Dan F. McCarthy. We have David, and in the end, it's just a man killing his son with a stone. Then the galaxy burns. Clark. We have, swing and a miss. I'll think of something better. We have James H. We have Colton Dan F. Miller. We have Fungus. We have John, here's your book, quote, Nathan, no, said Dorn, V8 gang, vroom, vroom. We have Cam, F. Dan Morton, hog emoji. We have This Space for Rent. We have Archon Rahal in his happy place with his Thunderhammer. We have Josiah Gattle. We have Frankie Fresh. We have Isaac, I can't believe I pay $15 a month just to have Innes beat me up in GSC and MTG, Tirada. We have Ben F. We have Thomas, I was bitten by a radioactive spreadsheet and I have turned into a head coach for Koyan. We have, I'm taking a secret mission. Can you point out all of your battle line to me? We have, nobody ever asks, how is Slate? Only where is Slate? Then we have, why is the hardest thing about a podcast coming up with a name? It's almost as difficult as trying to convince others that super heavy walkers should have true line of sight at all times. And then lastly, we have, Innes, this is my favorite part of the show, Wilson. With a continuing discussion going on in the tab names at the bottom of the sheet. So if you want to check that out, go join the $15 tier.
Christ. All right, everybody. Thank you so much, all of you, for being with us for another episode of StatCheck. This has been episode 108, an eventful fortnight. I've been Innes. I've been joined by Jeremy and Anthony, and we both have a cough because apparently that never goes away. If you're at an event this weekend, the very best of luck. If you're at Clan Wars Scottish Open 6 in Scotland, come see me this weekend. I would love to say hi, especially if we've not met before, which is unusual in Scotland. Otherwise, have a great time, everybody, and we'll catch you later.
Don't suck. Kill the bad guys.
It's true.